CNN Motorsports presents live exclusive coverage of the Florida Dodge Dealers 400 from the Homestead Motorsports Complex in South Florida. Hi, everybody, and welcome just south of Miami, where it's a beautiful 80-plus degree day for racing. I'm Mike Joy, welcoming you to the third round of the Craftsman Truck Series for 1997. Alongside me, Buddy Baker, who's won in Winston Cup competition at Ontario, California, a track that looks much like this one.
This racetrack is a 1.5 mile Indianapolis copy, and as you can see right here, 2,100 feet straightaway, 8-degree corners, 3 degrees on the straightaways, and right in the middle of the corners, you have a little 3 degree there. Look what happens to Jeff Bodine. Down on the bottom, gets in the ripple strip, gets into Mike Skinner, and from there on, it's wrecked.
Turn 3 has been Calamity Corner at this racetrack, and earlier this morning, Steve Burns took a walk out there with Jeff Bodine to survey Turn 3.
Turn 3 and 4 is always a hot spot here at Homestead. Last year, Jeff Bodine was on the pole with a speed of over 135 miles an hour. Today, the pole speed is 5 miles an hour quicker. It seems like they're always flirting with disaster on this racetrack. Jeff, tell the viewers at home why this is such a tough racetrack.
Well, Steve, this corner is really tough. All the corners are right now. They widened them out. They made them a little wider. That's why the track is faster. That's why the speeds are up. And this corner in particular, you kind of drop downhill coming into it, makes the truck a little light in the back end. You get a little loose. You're going to see some action in this corner today.
It's just going to have a tough day today because he'll be spotting for his son, Barry. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
And the man who qualified over 5 miles an hour faster, over 140 miles an hour. The track record here is Joe Ruttman on the pole today. And, Joe, your thoughts on today's race?
Well, I want to say hi to everybody, and hopefully we get off a good race here and a good, safe race. And I'd like to say hi to Troy, and we'll be seeing you pretty quick. So Jim and I'll go see you and see how you're doing, and we're really excited about this race, and we'll see if we can't stand on the gas for you and win the thing for you.
What about these tight corners here?
Well, everybody's got to go around the same corners. I don't think that has any effect on one team over another.
Okay, that's Joe Ruttman, your pole sitter. He liked it down here in Florida last time here in the Truck Series. He won the race in Orlando.
Joe's older brother, Troy, former winner of the Indianapolis 500, another rectangular racetrack. Starting lineup next. The Florida Dodge Dealers 400 is brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. And by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation parts in the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. Today's AutoZone race analysis, 38 trucks will start this event, 4 from the qualifying race, 4 provisionals, the rest on time. 85 laps to halftime, 167 laps is today's race distance. You're looking from turn number 1 up at the starting grid for today's race. Ford's on the front row. There's Joe Ruttman along with Boris Said, who competed yesterday at Sebring. Chuck Bound and Michael Dock in a Ford and a Dodge in row 2. Kenny Irwin Jr., Mike Bliss in a Ford. Rick Corelli's the fastest Chevy. He's 7th, along with last year's winner Dave Rezendes. Nemechek and Bickle there in the 5th row. Tony Roper joins the series for Bob Revak and Barry Bodine, not Jeff. Tony Raines and Jack Sprague there in the 7th row. Butch Miller and Dan Press, a couple of veterans in row 8. Stacy Compton moves up to the Truck Series. In row 9, Mike Skinner makes a return visit. He was the inaugural champion. Last year's champ Ron Hornaday back in row 10 with Lance Norrick. Kenny Allen and Rick Crawford out of the All-Pro Series. David Smith and Kelly Denton. One of the rookies, Toby Butler and Bob Keselowski's Dodge. Mike Cope from the Slim Jim Series and Jimmy Hensley. Lonnie Rush in the truck that Kenny Schrader was scheduled to drive here. Curtis Markham, Brian Refner, and Doug George in new rides for this season. Jay Sauter, who replaced Skinner in the Childress truck. Tammy Jo Kirk for Jeff Bodine. Rob Rizzo with that broken shoulder will start this race, and Brian Cunningham. Dennis Setzer and Randy McDonald, they made it in through the 25-lap qualifying race yesterday afternoon. They're rolling out for the pace lap. We'll be back for the start live from Homestead, Florida after this word. That was last year here at Homestead, the last lap. Dave Resendiz won it for Jeff Bodine. Today he's in a Chevrolet for a different team, and he'll be riding along with Boris Said on the outside pole. He's got Boris Badenoff on the back of his helmet. I like that. That's pretty cool. Second-generation driver from the outside pole, driving for Ernie Irvin and Mark Simo. Mike Bliss driving the Ultra Wheels truck for Jimmy Smith, the Team ASC Wagner Brake Products entry. Mike Bliss carrying our onboard camera, and Lance Norick with a new sponsor, the National Hockey League. More on that a little later on. Now he's way back of the field because they have that second group being led by the pace truck at pit road speed 55 miles an hour. He'll catch up there in a bit to the front pack. Bob Keselowski driving the Dodge will be starting 26, and you'll be riding along with Bob. A lot of headroom in those pickup trucks. That's the Mopar Dodge. And Jimmy Hensley, the Cummins diesel Dodge, owned by Richard Petty, who announced a second truck today for 5 races. Kenny Bouchard, the driver. Hensley with a hand in the air for 1 to go, and we'll go racing. Let's go pit side.
Mike, NASCAR made somewhat of a surprise announcement at the drivers' meeting. There's a lot of nervous gas men on pit road. That's Tim Cleary. He'll be putting the gas in Jimmy Hensley's truck. Now they'll have one halfway break at lap 84, but they'll have to go. They can only go, 55 laps on gas. So you're going to see green flag pit stops here if we don't have a caution. So a lot of nervous guys here on pit road. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Rob Rizzo in the 27 truck has a broken shoulder. He is going to try to make it to the first caution. He's going to drop to the back and try to hang on to the lead lap. Kenny Hendrick is here in the pits. He is ready to go, and he will be getting in the truck at the first caution, or maybe sooner, depending on how Rizzo can do. He is in a lot of pain out there.
Broken scapula, buddy. No fun.
No fun at all. He cannot raise his right arm at all, and he says shifting is very, very tough. This part of the racetrack right here, Mike, when they go off in the corner, they keep so much momentum going into the corner. They brake lag just a very little bit. Momentum is everything. The truck is just about broke loose all the way through that corner.
Tough racetrack to drive, and they're going to tear it up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. We'll give you more on that story later as the Dodge Ram pace truck about to head off the speedway, and we're about to get the green. Nice crowd on hand and fans to their feet. Green flag. Off into turn 1 rolls Joe Ruttman with the lead. Round into 2.
This is probably the only time that they'll be able to run 3 wide through the first corner. This is a very, very narrow groove. You can see everybody kind of sorting it out. This is down the back straightaway into turn 3. They'll go in wide and go right to the bottom of the racetrack. You can see what I'm talking about. The truck just starts sliding out towards the outside wall. As they come through here, keep as much momentum as you possibly can.
Joe Ruttman, the LCI Ford of Jack Roush, the leader. And they're second place. Coming off down into 1, Boris Said holds off Chuck Bound in the X-Side number 99, also a Jack Roush Ford. Second place, Bound's going to get him.
Yeah, Chuck has the inside groove there. That's a very fast way around. You can see that right now Boris said, I'm not going to try that yet.
Michael Dokken on pit road. They're going to go underneath the left side of his Dodge number 18 from Kurt Roaring. There's the battle at second place. Bound in second, pulling away a little bit from Boris Said. Kenny Irwin Jr., the 98, the Ray Bestis truck, moving in. Spin between 3 and 4. One truck at the back of the pack goes around. It is Brian Cunningham, the third-generation driver. His grandfather, Briggs Cunningham, who won Le Mans, built his own race cars that he and John Fitch and Phil Walters drove to many world-class road race victories, but Brian spinning that thing into the fence is going to be okay, and we're going to stay green.
Mike, that's that demon corner we were talking about, getting into turn 3. You just go in there with so much speed that once it breaks loose, you're in big trouble.
Knock the tailgate, not off it, but down, and it's going to take all the downforce off of Cunningham's truck. Green flag stays out. Second and third place battle, Chuck Bound leading Boris Said, whose father drove factory Cobras for Carroll Shelby's road race team and world competition in the 1960s. Said, a fair road racer himself, after qualifying, flew on up to Sebring, Florida to run in the 12 hours. He's part of the BMW team there. and just missed getting into the class-leading car for the last driving stint. He hopped in the second car with a broken sway bar and finished the 12 hours in 4th place. Flew on back down here last night to drive for Ernie Irvin and Mark Simo.
Looks to me like Chuck Bowen is closing in on Joe Ruttman just a little bit as they come down the front straightaway. This is Chuck Bowen in the 99 truck as they head down into turn 1. He's closed in about 3 truck lengths.
Ruttman won the pole by a full 0.2 of a second. Said was 0.2 faster than Bowen, who was 0.2 faster than Michael Dokken. Dokken has already made a pit stop and fallen from the lead lap.
Well, you can see that Lexan windshield vibrating in that truck as he comes by there. These trucks are really moving along. They averaged 140 miles an hour. Qualifying last year for the trucks was 135, so the track is 5 miles an hour faster this year.
And as Jeff Bodine pointed out, they've widened the race surface by 24 feet to give a little bigger radius through the corner. And tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., they're going to completely dig up both ends of the racetrack and turn this from a rectangle into a traditional oval.
Look at Jack Sprague right now. He's on the back of Resendiz. Gives him a little shot in the shorts there.
Well, you saw the last lap here last year when much the same thing happened, didn't it?
That's what I like about truck racing. They don't mind expressing their desire to get by every once in a while.
Jack the tap. Tap, tap, tap. Here he comes again. Now, Resendiz last year won for Jeff Bodine in a Ford. Charles Hardy, who was paired up with Bill Elliott in Winston Cup Racing last year, now owns this truck team, and Resendiz has moved from Bodine into this Chevrolet sponsored by Ortho Lawn Chemical. Sprague will get the spot. Too early to race too hard-nosed, is it, buddy?
Well, Jack Sprague is a little bit quicker at this particular part of the race, and one thing you have to realize, if a truck's fast enough that he can touch you in the middle part of the corner, he's going to get by sooner or later. It's best to let him go on, and you make an adjustment when you make your first stop, and maybe that truck will be better than Sprague later on.
So Joe Ruttman has a 2-truck length lead. His Roush stablemate, Chuck Bowen, rides in second. Boris Said is third. We'll be right back to Homestead after this. TNN Motorsports coverage of the Florida Dodge Dealers 400 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Battle for the lead is tightened up here at Homestead, Florida. Oh, geez. Let's go to Steve Burns.
And we're back with Michael Dokken. Michael, you had a great qualifying run. What happened?
Clutch burned up on us in the start. I don't know why it burned up, but we're going to have a good truck today. I thought we had a chance at the win, but the Dana Dodge was running good in practice. It unloaded fast, and we just got to find out why the clutch burned up.
Can you get back in?
Yeah, we're going to get it back in, try to get some points.
Down to turn 1, Boris Said, and the number 44 went looking for second place on Chuck Bowen. Couldn't find it.
Well, Chuck was real fast for the first couple of laps, but he's dropping back. I can't see anything as far as handling, as far as the way his truck looks coming out of the corner and all. But Boris Said has turned the wick up just a little bit and is running Chuck Bowen down.
A little further back, looking for Jimmy Hensley there in the Cummins Diesel Dodge, number 43. Battling with number 3, that's Jay Sauter. They're racing for 23rd position. The view from Jimmy Hensley. And moving up also there on the 52, that's Toby Butler in Ken Schrader's Pure One Chevy.
Jimmy Hensley there in the 43. He made a move to the outside and thought better of it as the number 3 truck started moving around on him just a little bit. He had moved to the outside, looked like he's going to make the pass, and said, "No, I think I'll wait a while."
This pack running just about half a lap behind the leaders. Pretty tight there.
Oh, well, they're thinking about making it 3 wide down into turn 3.
Oh, Sauter! Jay Sauter.
There was a lot of contact there. The 52 of Toby Butler got over just a little bit, and there was contact.
Oh, these are tough trucks, buddy.
They better be. They keep rubbing like that. They better be tough.
And And here's Hensley to the inside, working Toby Butler. This down the front straightaway and off into turn 1. And give Hensley that spot. Randy McDonald, that black number 72, moving up. Right down to the ripple strip. And let's go back to the front where Chuck Bound is trying to hold off Boris Said, Kenny Irwin, and Mike Bliss in number 2.
You see Mike Bliss looking to the inside. He's run this group down. He was about 10, 12 truck lengths back, and he just moved right back up on him. I mean, this truck is on a mission right now.
Bliss in 5th place. Last lap by was about 0.4 of a second quicker.
Hey, good job of breathing in.
The truck leading that pack, 99 Chuck Bound. They're running down the leader, Joe Ruttman. Caution is out for debris on the racetrack as number 86, Stacy Compton, and the Valvoline Instant Oil Change Ford comes to pit road. Flattened the left front as he ran over something.
Yeah, you can see part of the front valance there, just in front of the left front tire. There's pieces missing from it, so that's probably what the debris was. There was contact just a second ago between he and Toby Butler on the back straightaway, and that's the damage you see there.
So caution is out, first one today. And it comes out at lap number 14 here at Homestead, Florida. And Compton, the Virginia driver, goes back into the race. Michael Dokken, the one driver out so far with clutch trouble. They hope to get him back in. Also Lonnie Rush in the backup Kenny Schrader truck, parked it after 3 laps. Schrader was scheduled to race here, but a test for Winston Cup cars at the new Texas Speedway has taken Schrader away from here today, so Lonnie Rush started that truck and ran just 3 laps. Later today on TNN Motorsports, in fact, immediately following, well, not quite immediately following Homestead, but at 4 p.m., more live racing NASCAR action. The Busch Grand National drivers try their luck in Las Vegas with several Winston Cuppers in the field. It's the Las Vegas 300 coming up at 4 later today here on TNN Motorsports. And tonight, NASCAR Garage, a weekly half-hour look behind the scenes at the people and machines of NASCAR racing, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You're riding with Lance Norick, and you see the logo of the National Hockey League on the front of his truck. Had dinner with Lance and his dad last night, and they're really excited about the opportunity to get hockey fans involved in this mostly summertime sport, and the NHL feels that race fans, well, that they'll be drawn to the unpredictable action of Major League Hockey. Should be an interesting matchup. If he hits the wall, we'll try not to say slap shot, okay? Here's Mike Hogwood.
You guys were talking about Stacy Compton and Toby Butler. Well, this is the end result. Compton cut down a tire, and this is no fun to run on, and that's why he came into the pits and why there is caution out on the speedway.
Let's show you what happened to Stacy Compton. You see he's already run over it, and away it goes.
Mike, that is because he and Toby Butler got together. You could see on the wheel, on the outside of the wheel there actually the contact between the two of them cut into the wheel and flattened that tire later on.
So repair work continues. And also in the pits right behind is the number 17 of Rich Bickle. The Sears Die-Hard truck owned by Darrell Waltrip, and working on the right front of Bickle's truck. Now, the new rule that Steve Burns spoke of at the top of the show, in effect for Homestead, is that we will, of course, take the halftime break. That's kind of unique to the truck series. But last year here at Homestead, at about the 50-mile mark, we would take competition cautions to fuel the trucks and put them back out on the speedway in the order in which they came in. That is no longer the case. If you need fuel, come in and get it. Go back out where you were running, just like in a Winston Cup race. But on those pit stops, you're allowed only to change or to add fuel and make chassis adjustment. No tire changes permitted until halftime.
Well, Rich Bickle just stopped. He might have had a little pushing problem or something. Took care of that, took on fuel, and now he's back going again. The only thing they can't do is, like you said, change tires. So
right, that's not permitted until halftime. Mike Hogwood.
The Rich Bickle truck, there was a problem with the sway bar. He came in, he got it repaired, he's back out. He should be okay, but he lost some valuable track position.
A lot of the teams were kind of wondering who they would have to fuel the cars as we see Rich Bickle coming back up into line. Dave Rezendes was asked who was going to fuel the truck. He says, well, there's only one guy here with any fuel experience. He said, and that's me. So I don't think Dave was going to get out and gas it himself, but he was thinking about it.
Well, Joe
Work continues under the hood of both Rich Bickle and the 86 of Stacy Compton as we get set to go back to green.
We need to tell a story about Barry Bodine later on. His father says, if you can go out there and outrun me, I'll let you drive the truck in the race.
And in practice, he did.
Exactly.
I think Jeff was a little surprised. But Jeff's up spotting for his son today. Tammy Jo Kirk and Barry Bodine, teammates out of the Jeff Bodine shop. Again, Dave Resendiz has left that team for an opportunity with Charles Hardy and the Ortho folks. So Resendiz is in a Chevrolet. He won last year in a Ford, and he said the big difference between the two brands of trucks, air management, downforce. Joe Ruttman in the LCI Ford will lead them back to the green flag with Chuck Bound, his Roush Racing stablemate in the Exide Batteries Ford, number 99, and the rest of this field in hot pursuit. Morissette in third in 44, Kenny Irwin in 98, Mike Bliss in the 2. And then Jack Sprague has moved his Quaker State Chevy up into 6th spot, ahead of Joe Nemechek and Dave Resendiz. Back under green at lap 17 of 167. Little infighting there. Dan Press in the 75 going way high on Tammy Jo Kirk, who's going to bring that that's Barry Bodine bringing the 07 to pit road. 3 wide down the front straightaway as Kenny Irwin has Mike Bliss underneath, and here comes Sprague.
Boy, Jack Sprague is not wasting any time. You can see him going by Irvin there on the inside, just kind of muscled his way through. Jack Sprague's really moving well right at the moment.
You were riding with Boris Said, who got dropped back a couple of spaces there. Tammy Jo Kirk had been running the number 07. Barry Bodine has it today. They put the 7 on Kirk's truck to make sure that if she failed to qualify, she'd have a provisional to get into the race, because the number 7 has enough car owner points from the previous season. 3 wide again down the front straightaway as the leaders haul off into the corner. Here's your Napa Field standing update. Napa, we keep America running. Here's how they're running. With 149 laps to go. Whoa! Check up.
Wow.
One slow truck right there.
That's Smith, number 22 there. You could see he just got caught up in a kind of a chain reaction deal, and you can see a lot of damage to the nose of the truck there.
David Smith, the High-Tech Motorsports, number 22 Ford, getting caught up in one of those accordion-style chain reactions. Somebody got loose at the front of that pack. By the time it got to David Smith, there was no place to go. Caution is out. Second time today, comes out of lap number 19. So Joe Ruttman leads him across as Chuck Bound moves up to second, Mike Bliss to third, and Jack Sprague has put his Chevy in fourth. Welcome back to Homestead. We're working the second caution of the day for a crash between turns 1 and 2 in the short chute here at the west end of the Speedway. Let's pick up what happened here. One slow truck way to the outside, buddy, and one has already spun there and gotten going again.
You can see David Smith there in the 22 coming across. Oh, he gets right in the side of a truck going down, really down on the escape road, but there was no escape.
Here you're looking for Boris Said as they went 3 wide down the front straightaway. That's Kenny Irwin in the middle of that sandwich. John Nemechek. And he checks up. And he was the truck that spun, Boris Said. That's triggered that whole incident. And he grabbed a gear and drove away. Now here's another look at it. There's Said going around on the left side of your screen.
Mike, he did that pretty much on his own there. He just went in on the outside and the back of the truck started around. That happens on flat corners when you go in that hard on the outside. The groove is very, very narrow in the center part of each corner.
Rich Bickle here has made several pit stops. Mike Hogwood, what's up?
Told you the problem was a sway bar. It's worse than they thought. The sway bar arm is broken. They have begun replacing it, and they're going to have to bring him in a couple more times. It's going to be a long day for Rich Bickle with this sway bar arm broken as they try to replace it here during this caution. Steve Burns?
And Lance Norrick was just in moments ago. Mike, you were talking about him They wanted to make sure they didn't have any sheet metal rubbing on the tires, and they also topped off fuel. Barry Bodine is back in. They had a flat right rear tire. And also we want to mention, elaborate about this fuel window. You probably won't see any of the teams start to pit for gas until lap 30, because remember, they can go 55 laps on a full fuel load, and the window, the halfway break, is 84 laps.
Thanks, Steve. Finishing up this second caution period, they send Bickle back out and will come to green this time. What would it be like, your buddy, to run one of these trucks without a front sway bar?
Well, the biggest thing, it'd be okay getting in the corners and all, but if you ever turn back to the right and it unloads and jumps over on the spring without the sway bar managing the transition of weight, you're in big trouble then.
Okay. Joe Ruttman brings them down. He's led every lap so far from the pole in that yellow LCI Ford. Yellow nose, black tail to that truck. And Mike Skinner has moved up a bunch. He started way back in the field in 18th. He's up to 7th.
Yeah, and that blue truck you could see way on the outside there, that was Ron Hornaday. He was making a run up through there like crazy.
And Hornaday started 19th. There's that number 16 Napa Chevrolet of Ron Hornaday. And Dan Kress, who was formerly Hornaday's crew chief in Winston West, right behind him. Come up on Brian Cunningham there, who had an early spin. Oh, can you make it to the inside? Yeah, on the outside, too.
You see Dave Resendiz went on the outside there and really made a nice move there, though. Hornaday had passed him, and then Resendiz run right back by him on the outside. Look at that, 4 wide down the back straightaway. Somebody has to give there.
Right behind the 20 of Butch Miller. Boy, action aplenty on these restarts. Rick Corelli there in the 6th, the Remax Chevy. Works around the lapped truck of Stacy Compton. Sorting things out here, 1:43 to go.
You see Stacy Compton there. He had problems earlier in the race and had a tire go down and had a lot of damage to the left front corner of that truck. He's really out of contention right now. He's just making laps.
4 trucks in the lead draft. Then a little bit of a gap. We'll check on number 27, Rob Rizzo. He was going to come in on the first caution flag and give way to Kenny Hendrick. Climb out and nurse that ailing shoulder. A broken scapula in a practice crash here on Thursday afternoon. Mike Bliss and Jack Sprague, 3rd place. Bliss in a Ford, Sprague in a Chevy.
Yeah, these guys are going at it, and just behind them, a guy's beginning to rumble that they don't want to see get up towards the front. That's Mike Skinner. He is really making a move right now. Started 18th, has already moved to 6th.
Skinner in unfamiliar colors in this series. He's, of course, Winston Cup racing full-time this season. But he's going to run an occasional truck race. His white number 93. That'll be Skinner's truck when you see it. 26 laps completed, Homestead, Florida, and Joe Ruttman is opening up a pretty good lead. We'll be right back after this.
Brought to you by Gladiator and Universal Luxury Vans, the official vans of tracks, teams, and drivers throughout the NASCAR world. Call 1-800-445-2825 for a dealer near you.
29 laps completed, Homestead, Florida. Buddy, the lead battle's tightened up again.
Yes, it has. You can see the first 5 or 6 trucks right there, but look at the white truck just in the back there. That's Mike Skinner from 18th spot. He's run them down.
Lumar window films on the side of Skinner's truck. Unfamiliar for him to be the man in white in this series after seeing that black number 3 with Skinner aboard win a championship and a lot of races last year.
Proven color means absolutely nothing. It's the driver that counts.
You're right. All right, let's check with Mike Hogwood.
Rob Rizzo has gotten out of his truck. Kenny Hendrick is in it. And you talk about courage. This man with a broken scapula ran almost 30 laps here. How you feeling?
You know, I'm a little bit sore. You figure we just start the race, and I taped up my back, my shoulder, you know, hoping that the pain wouldn't bother me that bad. But when the caution came out, we figured it'd be a smart thing to just pull in the pits and let Kenny take over.
Right. A man with a big future ahead of him, but he's a hurting driver today, Rob Rizzo.
He had a couple of strong seasons in SCCA Trans Am racing. Spends his week at the family Ford dealership up in Providence, Rhode Island, and he'll be nursing that shoulder for a while.
I wonder what Jack Roush is telling these guys right now. He is here this weekend, and his trucks are running first and second right at the moment. I wonder if they have any team strategy gift. He says, go after him, kids.
Good question. You're riding with Mike Bliss. Jimmy Smith's Ultra Wheels, ASE Ford. Running there in third place, down to the ripple strip, sweep back off, back straightaway. Palm trees lining it. Buddy, if this isn't one of the most beautiful race courses in the whole country.
It really is. You hear us talking a lot about beautiful places, but I walked in the infield yesterday and kind of looked up and I went, wow, ultra nice.
Ralph Sanchez has done just a tremendous job of building this complex, catering to the teams and competitors' needs, and making it very fan-friendly down in the infield near the garage area. It's a great place to watch a race, too.
You know what I like about this track is the driver's track, too. Even though they are going to change it after this event, boy, it's an awfully nice racetrack. It reminds me of Ontario, Indianapolis. Those types of racetracks, you really have to drive all the way through the corners, and really, you know, you can be a little aggressive and make up some time, even with a little bit of a handling problem.
Official NASCAR scoring from MCI, you see up at the top of the screen, as you ride in the third-place truck of Mike Bliss down the front straightaway here at Homestead. Joe Ruttman, the leader. In yellow, in pink, Chuck Bound. And in blue, Mike Bliss. Those three Fords lead the Chevrolet of Jack Sprague, the Ford of Kenny Irwin Jr., the 98, and Mike Skinner is up into that front six.
Yeah, he was about 10 truck lengths back, and as you can see, he's closed right in on Irvin right now down the back straightaway. So I know Kenny's looking up there and saying, who is this guy?
You know, there's got to be a big grin on Skinner's face, just kind of sitting there going, I'm back. And he's going to be a threat before this event is over. They move past Rich Bickle with that sway bar problem and look to the inside. Or to the outside, rather, Sprague. Irwin on the inside to try to take Skinner with him.
Look at this. I'm telling you right now, the outside seems to be the slower way. Skinner looks to the inside right now. You can see Jack Sprague caught up on the outside, cannot make the move just yet.
Three abreast. Down to the inside comes Skinner. Kenny Irwin, hold on to your hat.
We have a winner.
Well, for this lap, maybe. Mike Skinner moves up to fourth place. Kenny Irwin in the 98. Ray Vestas truck to fifth, and Jack Sprague kicked back to sixth spot. Now, you'll see the gap that racing side-by-side allowed to open up from the front three trucks, and it's a big one. That's fourth, fifth, and sixth right here. Look at the front three. They've taken off, buddy.
Well, while you're racing like that, you lose a lot of time. People don't realize that there are a lot of draft here. It's just like at Daytona or Talladega or anywhere like that. Trucks in tandem can really get gone, but when they get 2-3 wide, you don't have a good angle into the corner, and this is a momentum racetrack. You lose a lot of distance fighting for position.
Second and third place. Chuck Bound has it. Mike Bliss wants it. Let's check with Mike Hogwood.
Bodine has been penalized for 5 laps for changing the tire under green. He thought he had a right rear going down. He came in, they changed the tire. The NASCAR inspector took a look at it, and it was not flat. Barry Bodine penalized 5 laps.
That's the rule in this series. No tire changes during the 2 competitive halves of the race, only at halftime, unless a tire is completely flat. And the NASCAR inspector will then call to the tower and say tire change approved. In this case, it was tire change negative for Bodine. 37 laps complete. Joe Ruttman now leads from Mike Bliss and Chuck Bound. We'll be right back. Winnebago Industries, the official motorhome of TNN. Stop by your local Winnebago or Itasca dealer now and see the new models available. For more information on Winnebago Motorsports team, please call 1-800-643-4892, extension 2. Commercial transportation for today's telecast provided by Ryder, the official transportation company of Opryland. We had a lead change while we were away. Mike Bliss has gone out in front of Joe Ruttman, and the 1-2 Roush tandem running has been broken up by Mike Bliss out of Milwaukee, Oregon.
Barry Dotson, the crew chief on that truck, number 2, and I tell you what, he just thinks that Mike Bliss is the greatest driver he's ever worked with. He really thinks he has the talent to just do anything he wants to in motorsports, and you can see right now, very competitive. He understands, come out of the open wheel ranks and up into the truck series, and has been a winner several times already. Good driver.
Joe Joe Ruttman climbed out of his truck after qualifying, sitting on the pole. A couple folks walked over and said, "Who just got out of that truck?" And Joe said, usually, I'm not the best qualifier. You know, it's not his strong suit. He races better than he qualifies, but he really cranked out a lap here yesterday to put that LCI Ford on the pole. Pretty happy guy, and he got a little ribbing from Ernie Irvin and some of the other fellows that were coming around because Joe is not known as a pole-sitting qualifier, but he is now.
Joe's brother summed it up. He said hero or zero. That's how Joe is as far as qualifying.
Let's go to pit road.
Barry Dodson is here. He's got to be excited about how his driver is doing. Your truck is flying out there, Barry.
Well, it needs to be. You know, Jack Sprague got behind us and got us loose. And when we follow, we're tight. It's the aerodynamics of these trucks running these high speeds. So I told him the only way to fix that was get out front and clean air and nobody be in front, nobody be behind. But the reason we're out front is at Yates Power Plant. Those motors are awesome. All the technical support from ASC. And Jimmy couldn't make it this week. He's back home doing some stuff for child help. And want to say hey to him. And we're looking good right now.
I'll say, well, Mike Bliss says the most comfortable spot on this track is out in front. I think every driver would say that.
Not surprising. Jimmy is Jimmy Smith, who owns that truck out of California, and also is a pretty fair off-road racer in trucks himself. So Jim and Marlene, who guided this team and was one of the originators of the Craftsman Truck Series. Rick Corelli in the Remax Realty number 6 slides underneath Dan Press, the Spears Manufacturing 75. Corelli's truck owner, Marshall Chesrone, had just completed a huge merger of the Chesrone Auto Dealership Group with Wayne Huizenga's Republic Industries that also has an interest in this speedway along with Ralph Sanchez. Chesrone hanging on to the race team in Colorado National Speedway, which this series will visit later this season, and will continue to have a management role for at least the next 5 years with the new partnership. So congratulations to Marshall on that transaction. I imagine he's back in Denver celebrating this weekend.
I would be. Anytime you say huge, that means something if Chesrone's even involved, because this guy has really got a nice organization.
Huge is about 8 zeros.
You got it. I was just looking there at Brian Refner. He must be running pretty well. He started at the very tail end of the field, and he's moved by Corelli right now and making a move towards the front.
Corelli there was the fastest qualified Chevrolet. He currently runs in the 10th position. Mike Bliss leads. Joe Ruttman in second. Chuck Bound runs in third, and Mike Skinner's up to fourth. Welcome back to Homestead, Florida. Mike Joy with Buddy Baker. 49 laps complete. Glad you could join us here today live on TNN. That's not truck 32. That's the leader, Mike Bliss, the Jim Smith number 2. Barry Dodson.
Off of 1, off of 2, just a little bit.
His daughter, Trey and Tia, were killed in a highway accident not long ago, and today would have been Trey Dodson's 20th birthday. He had begun his racing career, carried number 32 on his car, so it's kind of a thing for Barry Dodson, who's the crew chief for that effort, as he watches Mike Bliss go around in the front of this pack.
He's telling him, go ahead, too.
All right, look at the big screen.
Joe Ruttman in second spot, Chuck Bound in third, 3 Fords, then Mike Skinner's Chevrolet up to the 4th spot and make that now third. Skinner continues to climb toward the front where he's accustomed to being in this Craftsman Truck Series. There's a look at Bliss in the South Florida sun as he hustles off into turn number 3 and has traffic ahead of him. That's number 19, Tony Raines in the Dodge, former last year's ASA champ in the Pennzoil Dodge, and Brian Cunningham to the outside in 57. Cunningham's truck wounded from a lap 2 crash in turn 3 that did not bring out the caution.
Yeah, that truck does not have as much rear spoiler as it really needs to get around here. After hitting the wall, it bent the back of the truck down, so pretty much out of it.
5th place at stake here, Kenny Irwin Jr. in the Ford, and the 24 is Jack Sprague, the Quaker State Chevy. Green flag pit stops new to this series have started. You see Irwin is dropping down at turn number 3. He's going to pit this time, and the leader, Mike Bliss, is coming in as well. Here's Mike Bliss in. Green flag, gas, and adjustment only. Joe Ruttman is right there with him. From that line on, 55 miles an hour is all they can run down pit road.
Something new, too. Most of these guys have never made a gas stop under the green.
Stop it on the side.
Mike Bliss rolls to a stop.
Drop your hand
No
when you
chassis
go,
adjustment. Fuel in. And away. Chuck Bound is in. Kenny Irwin Jr. Kenny Hendrick is in. There's Ruttman's truck being fueled. Steve?
Yeah, and this is hold your breath time. In fact, Rich Miller, you saw him grab the second can of gas. These guys are not experienced gas men. They're getting their experience on the job. Chuck Bound is gone, and now Joe Ruttman. But a lot of nervous teams down here as these green flag stops begin.
Teams had an inkling of the new procedure earlier in the weekend, which was officially unveiled at this morning's drivers' meeting. So Mike Skinner, the Lumar window film Chevrolet, getting that second can in. Skinner wants to go, and he's away. Mike Cope is in. 55 down pit road. Ron Hornaday makes his stop. Mike Hogwood.
Don Cohen is the fueler for the Mike Bliss team. Barry Dodson told him he had to get one can in, but he had to get all the can in. He did it. The entire rest of the crew applauded this pit stop. It's the first time this team has ever done anything like this under green, and they did it flawlessly. They kept their driver out there.
Truck series, the drivers made their fuel stops and tire change stops under caution or at halftime. So this is something new. Jack Sprague is in for his stop, buddy.
Mike Bliss has picked up about a full straightaway over second place just on that one stop. What a great stop for Mike Bliss. Right now, he is making everybody look pretty bad on pit stops.
Jimmy Hensley is in. Rick Corelli makes his stop. There's Hensley, top of the screen, coming out. There's Corelli on the right side of your screen. Steve Burns.
Yeah, Jack Sprague was just in. Hornaday before him. Hornaday had a nice stop. Jeff Harkey is the gas man for Jack Sprague. He has some experience fueling. He did some Winston Cup races last year for Hendrick Motorsports.
Rick Crawford in and out, and the hood up on Curtis Markham's truck as he makes a pit stop. Number 12, Doug George coming to pit lane, and all of these stops occurring under green in the lap 54-55 area. Here's Jay Sauter, and he'll get a chassis adjustment on both rear sides, buddy.
Yeah, you can see him take a round out of the right rear.
And they also had the wrench at the left rear.
I would just speculate they probably put a roundabout in the left rear. They must be a little bit on the loose side.
Sauter back into the fray, came in the pits in 10th position. So this will about complete the first round of green flag gas stops for the Craftsman Truck Series. Little boat ride in the infield there. We'll be right back. Check out NASCAR online before, during, and after the race on the World Wide Web at NASCAR.com. It's your 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass. Riding along with Bob Keselowski as he pulls down on Ron Hornaday, the defending series champion. Here's Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, some interesting strategy down here in Jack Sprague's pits. I was watching the other teams as they came in. Everybody else put in 2 full cans of gasoline. Sprague only took 1. They came in 7th. Now they're running 3rd, so they picked up track position, and they're pretty certain they can go the distance to halfway. Mike Hogwood?
Rich Bickles having one long day. We told you about the sway bar problem earlier. He had a left rear tire go down. He just had to come on pit road and get it changed.
24 laps to halftime. Here's the lead battle. Mike Skinner had the fastest pit stop and took the lead from Mike Bliss. But Bliss has run him down quickly, buddy.
I tell you, Bliss was about 10 truck lengths back. You can see right in this particular area, getting off the corner, extremely strong.
First and second place, and they're about to come up on a group of trucks that are racing hard at the tail end of the lead lap after these pit stops.
You can see Skinner going down in the corner. Now watch how he closes in as they get into the corner. You can see Bliss run right up on him. He closes in some 3 truck lengths every time they start in the corner.
Skinner picks up a little down that 2,100-foot back straightaway. And they'll come up on lap traffic here in probably just one more lap. Short shoot between turns 3 and 4. Back to the front straightaway. Third place, Jack Sprague, well back of this group. Has a long way to go, almost a quarter of the racetrack to run down the leaders.
You know, Mike, I think the truck series, not being able to change tires every time you have a little bit of a handling problem on the truck, makes these guys aware of how to really protect their tire wear and not abuse the tires. These guys really, when they move up in the Winston Cup, they'll be better drivers because they don't have that cushion. That, okay, if something's wrong, I'll change all 4 tires and that'll fix my car. In this case, in the truck, you can't change, so you learn to protect everything on the truck and drive a little smoother line. These guys are good racing drivers.
It's a good rule for this series, buddy. Not just as, Brian Cunningham has gone into the inside retaining wall, and caution comes out at lap 63. The third-generation driver who finished 7th here in the Indy Lights race just a couple of weeks ago. Has it in the fence. And track truck going to his aid. Third caution of the day. I was saying that the savings is not just in the cost of the tires that you might otherwise change in each pit stop. It's in the savings of the cost of having experienced, qualified tire changers that you'd have to bring to the racetrack to pit these trucks under green. And you can see that Brian has shortened up the nose of his Chevrolet. It's a little one like the one that banged into us yesterday afternoon. We'll be right. We'll be right back. The Florida Dodge Dealers 400 on TNN Motorsports is brought to you by the more than 1,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by the original Vent Visor, the most practical accessory for your truck. Third caution of the day we're working. It's for Brian Cunningham's crash down in turn number 3 into the inside retaining wall. And a couple of trucks have made pit stops. Mike Skinner got a splash of gas, and Bill Sedgwick is back in for more sway bar problems. We're under this third caution flag as we're about 20 laps from halfway. Let's have a look at this week's Dodge Innovation in Racing.
In 1997, Dodge is making a huge commitment to their motorsports program. Each week, they send engineers to the track who specialize in aerodynamics, chassis, and horsepower. Proof positive of their commitment is young Michael Dockin. He sat on the pole at Tucson. Here today at Homestead, he starts from row 2. Michael, give us an example of how Dodge has helped your program.
Dodge has really helped with the horsepower and the aerodynamics and chassis. We worked earlier Monday and Tuesday really hard on the chassis, trying to get the chassis real good for this weekend, and they've helped us out quite a bit. And Dodge hasn't run a race in 20 years, so hopefully they put a contingency. If we win a race today, we can win a brand new Dodge Ram full-size truck.
Pretty neat little incentive. Buddy, I love this place. This is the only racetrack in the country with its own built-in beach that I know of.
That's pretty cool right there, I got to tell you.
That's pretty cool up here, too.
Hello. Mm-hmm.
Wonder what position they're running in.
Don't go there.
Maybe after the race, okay. 66 laps complete. Lap 84, roughly, will be halftime. Tony Raines is in with the hood up on the Pennzoil Dodge. Hasn't been a great day for Kirk Rorig's team, with Michael Dockin already out of the event and Raines in for an unscheduled stop. Also, Randy McDonald making a pit stop. Looks like the light is out atop the safety truck. And we'll get back to green this time by as they form up double file. Mike Bliss is the leader. Now that Mike Skinner has come pit side for a splash of gas.
Mike Skinner might have just cheated just a little bit on the fuel mileage deal there, you know, to lead that part of the race there, but he did come back in and get a splash. Jack Sprague's in second here. I guarantee you it's going to tighten up for a while here.
21 trucks on the lead lap as we come back to green, and Sprague wants the front spot.
That's what I was telling you. Jack Sprague does not like to run second. Down in the corner, boy, he made that look easy.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack be the leader.
And quick.
He and Mike Bliss got a good jump on the rest of the field as they round off turn 2. Chuck Bound in third.
Look at Mike Bliss. He drove right back by as they come off the corner, made that move back into the lead.
Ooh, pig pile in turn 3 almost as they all tried to slide in there from 4th on back. Working the lap traffic is a little treacherous here. 3 leaders come off turn 4. And it's a long gap back to 4th place. Mike?
It was a short day for Boris Said and a kind of rough way to end a long weekend.
Yeah, it's tough luck, but I got to thank Federated Auto Parts for coming on board and 1-800 Collect. I mean, I had a really good truck this weekend. Yeah, unfortunately, some electrical in the motor, I think the distributor broke, and it's a shame because Yates gave us a great engine, and I just want to thank all my friends for the support, especially everybody at No Fear.
Ernie Irvin's given you a great break in driving this truck.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable feeling to drive for Ernie Irvin. He's been teaching me all weekend, and I mean, it's a top 5 team with a top 20 driver, so I keep my fingers crossed every weekend. And it was a really good learning experience this weekend, so hopefully I keep running up front.
Boris Said with a busy weekend at Sebring and here at Homestead. It is on kind of a sour note. Good luck, Boris.
Top 3 breaking away. And you saw what a traffic jam it was out behind them. Now there's Bliss, Sprague, and Bound. Asked Ernie Irvin yesterday if he was pleased the way Boris ran here, and he said, well, he ought to run good here. This is just a road race course. It doesn't have any right turns is all.
If you turn right here, you're in big trouble. Chuck Bound in the 99 truck, if you see right here running the 3rd right now, the truck seems to be very, very competitive on cooler tires. As the tires get hotter, for some reason the truck must have something in the handling that they can adjust at halftime that'll make this truck a little bit better, but he loses after about 8 or 10 laps to the lead.
Chuck Bound has raced Winston Cup. He's been the Busch Grand National Champion, and he told us yesterday, he says, man, I love this truck series. These guys are having fun. He says it's a lot more fun running 3rd here than it is running 30th in Winston Cup.
Well, he's a tremendous talent. He got
trouble. Turn 2, a truck has slammed the wall. That's the Dale Phelan owned number 66 of Brian Refner, and everybody had to scatter. Oh.
Wow, hard lick on the right front corner.
He's moving around inside, buddy, and drops the window net. That's a good sign. Steve?
Hey, Mike, you talked about Brian Refner earlier. This has been a tough weekend for him. That's the same truck that he wrecked at Tucson. When he got it here, he had a problem. He spun in qualifying. He said he wasn't real happy with the truck. Now he's very unhappy with the truck.
That Carlin Burners number 66 is used up.
When you see them drop the net like that, that's to let the corner workers know that they're not injured. When you drop that net like that, that's to let them go ahead and do their job and not worry about the driver.
Rest of the trucks roll by under caution. 4th one of the day at lap 71. Let's show you what happened. When we come back here to Homestead Motorsports Complex after this. Opryland, the official destination of NASCAR. For more information, call the number on your screen Monday through Friday. And Opryland is also the host of the TNN Salute to Motorsports, June 25th through 29th. Monday through Friday, the number to call is 615-889-6611 for more information. Riding there with Bob Keselowski. As we're still under this caution, here's the number for Opryland USA, the official destination of NASCAR. 73 laps are complete under this caution flag. A very, very hard hit by Brian Refner into the turn 2 wall. There you see what's left of Dale Phelan's truck as they hook it up to the wrecker. What a shot.
Yeah, I tell you, the right front corner of that truck is just absolutely gone. And across the racetrack, you can see the Speedy Dry there. That's the radiator was broken in two, and just all the fluids run across the racetrack. Cleanup will be just a second more, I'll guarantee you.
Got a lot of fluid on the racetrack. And now the wrecker is pulling that truck away. While we're under caution, we'll take this time to introduce you to today's AutoZone Tech Fact.
Don't just look for the ASE Ultra wheel truck on the track this year. Look for our new wheel. We're now in the racing business. Here's the wheel you're used to seeing. A very good product. It has 9 windows. Let me tell you the advantage of the Ultra. It's got 6 windows. much bigger. 2 advantages there. 1, much better brake cooling. 2, a tire changer can get his hand in here for much quicker pit stops.
That's Barry Dodson, who, of course, is the crew chief on Mike Bliss's Ultra Wheels number 2. Going to be another lap or so before we get back to green flag racing here. As you look ahead to Mike Skinner from Bob Keselowski's truck from the bumper cam. Now, Skinner had that great pit stop. Well, there was a reason for that. They didn't get quite that whole can of gas in, so Skinner came out at the front, but then he had to come back in on the next caution flag to get the tank topped off. That's why he's now running in 13th position instead of at the lead.
Yeah, if you take on 5 gallons and somebody else takes on 10, you can leave a little quicker.
Don't worry, he'll find his way back to the front. We're about 10 laps to halftime here at Homestead. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Homestead, Florida. 75 laps complete. Caution flag out, 4th one of the day for Brian Reffner's crash up in turn number 2. Let's go to Steve Burns.
And we're in the pits. Mike, we haven't talked about Kenny Irwin much, but he's up on the leaderboard. One of the co-owners of Liberty Racing, Brad Doherty, is here in the pits. Brad officially just retired from the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA and had his jersey retired. Brad, you're having a big day here.
Yeah, truck's running really good. Kenny's doing a great job. He's running the car hard through the corners, the right rear tire seems to be rolling over on us a little bit, so we're trying to get a little side bite.
Brad, this isn't your first venture in racing. You started in Busch Grand National Racing with Robert Presley. Are you in this for the long haul?
Yeah, I'm in it for the long haul. We have a tremendous young team here, and we're excited about being in the Truck Series. We're going to run as many races as we can, Busch Grand National-wise, but we're here in the Truck Series to stay.
Okay, Brad, best of luck. And, folks, he just had his jersey retired, number 43. Brad wore that number in honor or in tribute to Richard Petty.
He's a long-time race fan. Brad Doherty is, grew up in North Carolina, and we've seen him at a number of Busch Grand National races over the years.
He's a big old drink of water, too. I walked up beside of him today, and I look like a 4th grader walking around him. And I'm 6'5". I guarantee he's a big old boy.
He met Richard Petty when he was 11 years old and has been a fan ever since. So it's very fitting that he would wear number 43 throughout his pro career, and that number would be retired by the Cleveland Cavaliers. The MCI Fast Pace Award, $1,000 to truck number 44. That was Boris Said III, 136.36 miles per hour, 40.050 seconds. The Fast Pace Award of the day. Going to Boris Said, who is out of the race behind the wall with engine difficulty. Getting set for the restart this time by Mike Bliss, the leader in a Ford, Jack Sprague Chevrolet, Chuck Bounds Ford, Kenny Irwin's Ford. Dave Rezendes, the defending winner of this race in a Chevy, is 5th. In 6th is Rick Corelli in a Chevrolet. And 7th is Joe Ruttman's Ford, the pole sitter.
Mike, if you want to know the trucks that are a lap down, just look on the inside there. That's all of them on the left-hand side as they go down the back straightaway. These are trucks that are 1 or more laps down.
So as we get set for the restart, in 8th is Jay Sauter. In 9th is Toby Butler. Ron Hornaday is 10th. Dan Press is 11th. John Nemechek 12th. 13th is Mike Skinner. 14th is Bob Keselowski, and 15th is Rick Crawford. Also on the lead lap is Kelly Denton, Butch Miller, Tammy Joe Kirk, the 15 of Mike Cope, and the number 90 of Lance Norrick. Going to get a take one on the field this time. Light came back on atop the Dodge safety truck, and now it goes out, indicating 1 to go as you ride with Jimmy Hensley on that inside line. Hensley is 1 lap down.
10-4, just got to watch yourself over there.
That was a good shot of the caution lights. You have those at different spots around the racetrack, and if you see that yellow light flashing, like right on the right-hand side there, you can see it. That lets the driver know as he starts into a corner. If that starts flashing, all of a sudden you have problems on the racetrack and you start looking for trouble.
Yep, and I like that strobe light up there atop the caution light too, buddy. The South Florida sun is so bright, those of you in snow country, if you will, that strobe light really helps to try to see that as you get into and off of the corner.
That caution light can save you a truck too.
Yes. Mike Hogwood?
talking about the 95 champion Mike Skinner here. He is driving this weekend for Dana Dorman out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Dorman himself is a late model stock car driver in the area and will drive this truck in several races. But he's got Skinner booked for a couple of races this season. They are part-time runners, and they admit they just plain made a mistake on that fuel. They'll try to make it up in the second half of the race.
A lot of laps to work on it here. Skinner will be 13th on the restart. And will ride with Jimmy Hensley for this restart. In the Cummins diesel Dodge. No, it's not diesel powered. It's diesel sponsored.
Green, green, green. Green, green, green.
That was the spotter telling the driver, green, green, green. That means the green flag is out, and you can see him rocket away there.
Tony Roper just ahead of Hensley in the Chevy Freeback truck. Here comes Resendiz down,
35.
looking for the bottom of the corner. Leaders off turn 2. Buddy, you've kind of broken away here. Oh, here comes Sprague.
Sprague makes a move on the inside. Now, what will happen, Bliss will have to let him go there. You can see that Bound is starting to move on the inside. Goes right on by Bliss as they head into the corner.
And Kenny Irwin goes past. And Dave Resendiz goes past. And Bliss got clotheslined. And is he in trouble? What's wrong with that truck?
Boy, I wouldn't want to speculate, but it looks like he has a real problem with the truck. He's very slow down the front straightaway.
And Mike Bliss is going to take it behind the wall, down into the pit access there, the pit exit, down off the racetrack.
We won't make it back.
Mike Hogwood.
Mike Joy, they miscalculated. They flat miscalculated. Mike Bliss is out of fuel. They thought they could make it to the halfway point. There's real dejection here in his pit. He is out of fuel, and he's going to be coming down the pit road.
Here comes Sprague to the bottom again. He just kind of jacking the boxes out of line there.
Great battle for the lead. Look at these guys go into turn 1 here. You can see Irvin just moving around, getting off into Kenny Irwin, and that particular truck there was really out of shape getting down in the corner and never backed off.
Spin coming out of turn 2. There's a slow truck down on the bottom. Caution is out.
That's Bliss. He's out of fuel, and he stopped over on the back straightaway.
Right. Thank you. He rolled to a halt there coming out of turn 2. Not a spin. Just Bliss moving slowly out of fuel, drawing the caution and going a lap down.
Jenny wouldn't do it. Jenny wouldn't do it.
You see him waving his hand there. That's to let
he was trying to get somebody to come and push him. I think, buddy, he was motioning for help.
I think he's going to get help, but it's going to be from push truck. It won't be from one of these trucks.
I think after the caution, they might have been trying to line up somebody to push him back to the pit. And it'll have to be the safety truck. So Mike Bliss loses a lap.
He's wanting to push, and this guy's going by him. Not a happy camper right there.
Little language problem here, but that's okay. Man, he may lose another lap.
Please, let's go, please.
Well, he did say please. Okay. 81 laps complete.
I don't care.
84 laps will be halftime, more or less. It's kind of a floating halftime. It's not a fixed lap when NASCAR decides to open pit road for the halftime break. The trucks, by the time the last truck gets to its pit stall, they'll count out roughly 5 minutes, where the teams can change tires on these race trucks and make chassis adjustments and get set for the second half.
Mike, look at the windshield on Bliss's truck there. You can see how much oil and things you pick up. Everybody thinks that the driver has a real nice windshield to look through. That thing had oil all over it. I guarantee you visibility is kind of minimal right now.
Mike Hogwood?
Well, Mike Bliss's crew and Barry Dotson thought they had made a really good move because everybody else was putting 2 cans in their trucks of fuel. Bliss only took 1. They thought they had it calculated, but it was not to be. They made a big mistake.
And we'll get halftime next time by. So Mike Bliss is in. He is now 2 laps down to the field. Tough break. Now they're going to have to fuel him and send him back out to come all the way around the track for the halftime break, buddy, or he would lose another lap.
Boy, I guarantee you. Well, if you never stop under the green, you really don't know.
True. Steve Burns?
Talking to some of the crew chiefs down here, anticipating what changes they'll make, guys. I talked to Gary Showalter, the crew chief on the 98 truck. He said, I don't think we'll make many adjustments, but our driver is a little excited. We got to cool him down. Kenny Irwin having a great run. And Jack Sprague in the 24 truck, I asked their crew. They said they might take a little bit of bite out. It's a little bit tight. But the big thing is Jack Sprague has been complaining of having something irritating his eye since lap 20. So they're going to try and flush his eye out.
Tough break there.
Mike, a lot of times when you have a lot of oil dry on the racetrack, you'll get a couple of those little slivers up in your eye there.
They're going to the break.
I thought we were going to get green next time by to start to reach for the flag, but now we will stay under caution, and we may hold this caution to the halftime break. That is what's going to happen. They're going to call halftime. Instead of going 2 laps under green to halftime,
I would have finished me story.
Well, then go right ahead.
I thought we were going green, too. I cut it short. But what happens, you get a lot of that oil dry flying around inside the car, and it can get up under the corner of your goggles every once in a while and get in your eye.
And there's nothing more irritating than something that's supposed to take all the moisture out of something right there in your eye.
You got that right.
You had a couple of laps around here this morning in one of those Dodge trucks. What's this place look like from the driver's seat?
Looks like someplace I would really enjoy racing, I'll tell you. It's the type of racetrack that real race car drivers, like all these guys out here, real competitors like to drive, because you can influence what the car does by the way you enter the corner, the way you come off. And if you have a handling problem, you can change the apex that you take going into the corner, maybe a little wider, and then turn directly into the corner to take up for a push or a loose condition.
I found it a real fun track to go around, but I found it difficult going into turn 1. You can't see turn 2 because of those infield walls.
You don't need to see that far. You're not there yet.
Well, I didn't have a spotter yet. You're right. Thursday night, Lance Norrick's team unveiled their new sponsorship for 1997. There at the Florida Panthers game, there's the Panther riding along with Lance out on the ice at the NHL game. Good thing he didn't do any burnouts there. That would have been the end of the hockey for the evening. But between periods, they unveiled this brand new ice sculpture paint job. They'll have a Stanley Cup paint job a little later in the season, as Lance will represent the National Hockey League. Is that a goalie's helmet? I don't think so. It's a Simpson. Maybe a goalie ought to try one of those. But the NHL hopes to attract some summertime NASCAR fans to their sport full of unpredictable action, and vice versa. Should be a neat pairing up. We're looking forward to it.
That Panther looked a little bit like one of our pit reporters. I shouldn't have said that.
But you did. It's halftime, thank goodness, here at Homestead Motorsports Complex. 83 laps complete, and everybody is in for the 5 minutes worth of halftime changes on these trucks. Let's go first to Steve Burns.
And Jack Sprague is, again, we said, complaining of having something in his eye. Howard Chipwash, one of the motor tuners, Jack is spraying water in his eyes. He's got an entire bottle. See if we can get a word. As I said, he's trying to clean out his eyes. Jack, how are you feeling, first of all?
I didn't hear you.
How are you feeling? Are your eyes all right?
Yeah, I got a lot of trash in them right now, but hey, the guy's doing a great job. The Quaker State Chevrolet is running good. It's just a wonder we can even play with these Fords, but we're being able to. I'm just terrible loose having to deal with them, but as long as I can keep it off the wall and keep it from spinning out, I believe we'll be all right, but I'm having to drive it way over the edge.
All right, guys, we've got to scoot out of the way. They're going to change left side tires. Let's go back upstairs.
Thanks, Steve. You can see what a flurry of activity that is down there on pit road as the teams try to get tires, chassis adjustments made in 5 minutes worth of halftime. We'll check on them when we come back. We're at halftime here at Homestead. Work continues on these trucks. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
I'm with the Chuck Bound truck. They're trying to cool down the motor right now. It has been running really well out there. Chuck, you pretty happy? You make any adjustments here?
Wow, very minor. It mostly depends on how much green versus how much yellow. I think in long green I'd be okay, and that's what I'm adjusting for. But, you know, there's a lot of good trucks out there. I'm just glad I'm in one of them.
What about the second half? What are your thoughts? And what about this fuel stop under green?
I'm not going to do much different than the first half. Just going as hard as we can and try to take care of everything and see if we can have something for him, get lucky at the end, try to win this thing for Exide and Roush.
Chuck Bound, very happy with his truck, just cooling off here at halftime.
All right, let's go to Steve Burns.
And a quick update, Mike. Kenny Irwin, they have a portable fan plugged in here. They're getting as much air as they can on Kenny Irwin. As I said, he's overheated. The truck otherwise is in good shape. Just the driver a little bit overheated.
Warm day here in South Florida at the Homestead Motorsports Complex. Nice crowd on hand and pretty busy down along there on Pit Road. We'll update a little further when we come back to Homestead. It's halftime here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Friday night, TNN Motor Madness travels to the Lone Star State. As part of TNN's Salute to Texas, the Pennzoil World of Outlaws battle it out in the Devil's Bowl Spring Nationals from Mesquite, Texas, live at 8 Eastern, Friday night on TNN Motor Madness. And the next NASCAR Craftsman truck race on TNN will be Sunday, April 20th, out in Phoenix, Arizona. The Chevrolet Desert Star Classic 300, 4 p.m. Eastern, April 20th, here on TNN Motorsports. Welcome back to Homestead Motorsports Complex. Mike Joy, and alongside me now the promoter of this beautiful facility, Ralph Sanchez, previously with the Miami Grand Prix, and then took this section of hurricane-ravaged South Florida and built a show place for motorsports, a great facility to televise from and to walk around the pits. It's very fan-friendly, and tomorrow morning you're going to tear it all up.
We are. Tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, we're tearing down the walls on the outside of the short chutes, and we're going to make this a true oval rather than the quad oval.
An interesting racetrack to drive in its present configuration, but changing it into an oval. What'll that do for competition, and what'll that do to the events you plan here for the future?
I think that it'll make competition better. It'll be a better show. I think that it will be probably a much faster racetrack, but it will also give us a lot more safety, which is very important to us.
I understand you're going to have crews working 24 hours a day, round the clock. What's your timetable for completion?
We have got to be completely paved, ready to go, ready for the asphalt to start curing by June 30th. So that doesn't give us a heck of a lot of time.
So then 90 days to cure it, and then we're testing Busch Grand National cars.
We're testing in the first week of October, so we can't put any cars before that on the track.
Ralph, you've done a wonderful job with this place. So best wishes for continued success. We're happy to be part of it.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Ralph Sanchez, the promoter of the Homestead Motorsports Complex. Let's check with Mike Hogwood.
Well, right now you can see this team, Mike Bliss, they're having what I call a motivational meeting right now. They want to assure each other this race is not over. Let me get in here with Barry Dodson. Barry, I know this is a tough break for this team.
Yeah, we needed one good can in there. And, you know, we never do mileage with the 9-to-1s. We didn't know. And you don't know how much you soak up on a caution lap, and naturally it's more when you're on a bigger track. And I told Mike it's my fault, the shape we were in as fast as it was. I probably should have put a little more in. We figured it would go 57, it went 53, and I thought we got a full can in, and we missed it just a tick. I mean, it was on fumes, and we got some options here now in the second half because we're a couple laps down. We can come in on any caution and keep putting that fuel load to it and minimize our stop at the end.
Might sound like a cliche, but this team down right now, definitely not out.
They are 2 laps behind as we get ready to go back to green. Joe Rutten has led 42 laps so far. Mike Bliss led 27, and Mike Skinner had his Chevy out front for 10 laps. Jack Sprague 10 laps. Brian Reffner led a lap. As we get ready to go back to green for the second half of this third round of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for 1997.
Mike Bliss is the second truck on the inside lane there. He really has to have a great start here and try to get by the lead truck of Sprague to get one of those laps back to even have any chance at all.
And that won't be easy as Sprague jackrabbits away from the field on this restart. That's Kenny Irwin Jr. right behind in the Ray Bestis 98, and Chuck Bound, the Exide 99. Field shuffles out, dealing with the lap trucks. And it's a 4-truck breakaway at the front of the field, including this man, Mike Bliss, who's trying to get 2 laps back from the leader.
You can see, everybody's on fresh rubber right now. The tires are great. Everybody's handling very well, and right at the moment, I wouldn't say anybody has an advantage. Later on, as the tires get worn, get a little slicker, you start sliding around, then the better handling trucks will move to the front. Not that one leading right there is not a great truck. Jack Sprague has won a lot of mile races in the truck series.
Your Napa Field standing update. Napa, we keep America running. Here's how they're running. 82 laps to go.
You know, Kenny Irwin has just been on a tear today. That truck is really good. That Ray Bustos truck has been right up front for the whole race. And you can see right now he's putting a tremendous amount of pressure on Sprague. He's moving around. You see Sprague looking in the mirror, kind of figuring, where is this guy going to try me? Because he's certainly fast enough.
In second place, started fifth. He's had a great ride so far. That's Brian Cunningham, who came by misfiring down the front straightaway. He's had a tough day. Irwin, a little look on the outside of Jack Sprague there. But you were talking earlier about tire management, buddy. Do you think these fellas at the front will ride a while?
I think Kenny Irwin right now would like to take the lead. I think you can see that he has a very, very fast truck. But he's moving around. What you try to do if you're running second is move around and get that guy to looking in the mirror and kind of guessing where you're going to go. You don't want to make the thing move every time you try to make a pass on the truck, because what you do then, you give him an idea of where he needs to do that counter move on you when you start by.
Sprague told us that in practice, when he was behind a Ford, there was just no down pressure on the nose of his truck at all. That's one reason it's important to him to keep that Chevrolet's nose out in the wind.
He's doing a pretty good job of just doing that right now. The person on the move right now is a 99 truck there. You can see right now that, yeah, he's got a great line around the racetrack, and
Chuck Bound is right there.
Yeah, he started third, and he's still running third, but he has been on a tear, and I'm sure that the truck must be pretty well. You noticed he didn't make a change. I thought he had a problem because he would drop back in the first series. Before they made the first stop, he had moved back about 20 truck lengths back.
He's right at the front right now, and look who's come up into the picture. Right side of your screen, as you see Bound there. Now there's Mike Bliss, and right behind him is that yellow truck of Dave Resendiz, last year's winner. There's Resendiz in the Ortho number 35, and he is closed right up on the lead pack. Won it last year in a Ford, now driving a Chevrolet. Joe Ruttman a little further back in fifth. Front five, four of them on the lead lap. Bliss in the number 2, 2 laps down. There's Resendiz in fourth place. Ruttman is fifth. Jay Sauter is sixth. Toby Butler is seventh. Eighth is Mike Skinner. Ninth is Ron Hornaday. And 10th, John Nemechek's had a good run today. Native Floridian.
See Bliss looking to the inside right now on Chuck Bound as they head down into turn one. He has a very, very fast truck after about 10 laps. You can see Bliss looking outside, inside right now. He's just trying to find out where he can make his move.
He got the left sides down on those ripple strips, buddy. That yellow line is pretty ripply down there. Has a look there. Nope, not this time.
Yeah, even in a road car, you can ride around and go across those ripple strips, and the left side of the truck will just give up on you as you start in through there. Here comes Bliss. He gets by Chuck Bound as he come off the corner there, and Resendiz is coming with him.
Buddy, looks like there's nothing you can do to defend against that. You come off the corner high. If one truck drops underneath you and everybody else follows, you're duck soup.
Yeah, that's it. It's so narrow as you start into the corner. Then, of course, you have that little straightaway in the center part of the corner. Then you drop right back to the bottom of the racetrack to come through the next corner.
Trouble, turn 2, right between 1 and 2 in the short chute. One truck has spun after contact. Tammy Jo Kirk in the lovable number 7. Jeff Bodine's shop has spun, no caution.
I don't see any damage at all to the truck as she's trying to get it cranked up again.
I'm not sure, but I think there was contact with another truck, and now the caution is out. Lap 92. 5th caution of the day, not counting halftime.
Okay, she's refired now, and she will not lose a lap. She's moving back out.
So Jack Sprague leads under caution here at lap 92 at Homestead. We'll be right back. We've just taken the green flag for the restart, and Mike Bliss has gotten one of his laps back from Jack Sprague. Here comes Ruckman up underneath the 3rd place truck.
Yeah, you can see that Mike Bliss really made a great restart. He was the first truck on the inside lane and just went right by Jack Sprague, and now he's made up one of his 2 laps that he's down.
So Bliss now needs a caution flag to come all the way around and catch the field and be just 1 lap down. Sprague is the leader in that green Quaker State Chevy. Right behind him, Kenny Irwin Jr., the Ray Bustos Ford, number 98. 35, the Resendiz truck. That's the Ortho Chevy in 3rd, and Joe Ruttman, the pole sitter, the LCI Ford in 4th. 5th is Chuck Bound on the Exide Ford. 6th is Jay Sauter. 7th, Mike Skinner. 8th, Ron Hornaday. 9th, Toby Butler, and 10th is John Nemechek. 72 laps to go. Make that 71 now as they cross the stripe and head back to 1.
Boy, Kenny Irwin's got a lot of heat on Jack Sprague as they head off into turn 1 there. But you know, Dave Resendiz, running in 3rd spot right now, is running a very, very conservative race, taking care of his truck, and he's not out of contention by any means. He's just sitting there kind of letting everything happen around him.
Kenny Irwin head-hunting for the lead, and Sprague is not about to let him have it. 5 leaders, 6 lead changes.
Joe Ruttman makes a move on Resendiz as they go into turn 4.
And things get a little close there between Chuck Bound and Resendiz. That's Rich Bickle drafting along, who is many laps down. Let's check that, he's 2 laps down.
See Resendiz in the yellow truck there, caught on the outside. You can see right now when Bickle goes down in the corner, you really lose a lot of spots there. Jay Sauter in the 3 truck is now moving up, and look who's coming, Skinner. 93.
Wow, dives to the bottom of the racetrack, passes Sauter, gets underneath Bickle. Mike Skinner is rolling to the front.
He knows how to use that traffic. He never even cracked the throttle. Just drove it right on in there, let it drift right up to the high side of the racetrack, and have a good pull off the corner.
Mike Skinner, the 1995 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion, making a little encore performance here.
Look just behind him, though. Hornaday in the 16 truck. He's certainly not out of it by any means either. He's just taking along there, taking advantage of every situation.
Jay Sauter in the Goodwrench service number 3 up to 7th. And there's Hornaday, the Napa Brake 16 up to 8th position. Toby Butler in 9th and Nemechek in 10th. And Dan Press in 11th. Chasing Nemechek at the back of that pack. That's 10th and 11th place. The white number 8 and the white and blue. Spears manufactured 75 for Press. Pretty tight running order here as you look at Toby Butler and the Ken Schrader Tier 1 Chevy. There's Nemechek in that unsponsored Chevrolet.
Yeah, well,
Dan Press.
He's got a little mark right there on some of those stars on that quarter panel there. You can see him fixing to get another mark. If he don't get out of the way, Dan Press makes a nice move on the inside.
Well, now Nemechek's truck just wobbled like that, buddy. What happened there that allowed Press to get under him?
Well, I think Press might have touched him.
Oh, you think? I like Dan Press. Here's a fella at 48 years old. Had a very promising short track career out on the West Coast. Then he became a crew chief for several years. And then, you know, he said, this is fun. I want to do some of this. And he turned a couple of races last season in a truck that he co-owned into a full-time ride with the Spears folks for 1997. Here's Chuck Bound, having been passed by Joe Ruttman. 3rd place changing hands there. Ruttman, the pole sitter, moves up to 3rd. Ruttman, a winner at the Mick Yard in the season opener. And that was a thriller. Let's check with Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike Joy, I talked to Joe Ruttman's crew during the halfway break. They made a camber adjustment on the right front. They said they started with too much camber, so they backed it off.
Did you say Nick Yard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, brother.
102 laps complete. Jack Sprague's Chevrolet out front. We'll be right back to Homestead. Here's our auto vent shade point standing update brought to you by the folks that make the original vent visor. After 2 of 26 races, there's Rich Bickle, 335 points. Butch Miller, 5 back. As you look down through the top 10, there's Dave Rezendes, defending champion of this race, anchoring that top 10. Jack Sprague, the race leader. Kenny Irwin Jr. riding in second spot. Close behind, Irwin, best known as an open wheeler. 1996 champion of the USAC Skoll Midget Series. Moving into full-bodied, full-contact racing. Here with the number 98 team co-owned by Brad Doherty, Liberty Racing. Irwin in 5 starts won the pole at Richmond last season here in the Truck Series before moving up full-time this year. 27-year-old Indianapolis native chasing Jack Sprague. And we'll check with Steve Burns.
You know, guys, we've always hear about the Ford versus Chevy controversy in the Winston Cup Series. Well, the guys in the Truck Series have learned the fine art of politicking as well. I talked to Timmy Cahuth, the crew chief for Toby Butler, and he said, we have had to go so radical because the Fords have such an advantage over the Chevys, and we have caution on the track. We'll finish that story and go back upstairs.
Caution waves out at turn 2.
Mike Bliss has to be licking his chops. That's what he had to have to close that one lap back up, and he can come on the inside on the next restart, maybe make up some more ground.
Michael Dockett had come back on the racetrack after clutch trouble and brings out this caution flag at turn 2. So Mike Bliss takes advantage. Welcome back to Homestead, Florida. Mike Joy with Buddy Baker. Steve Burns and Mike Hogwood pit side for our live TNN coverage. Don't forget Busch Grand National Racing live from Las Vegas later today on TNN Motorsports. Big action doubleheader as you look at race leader Jack Sprague.
Mike, there's a little bit of strategy. I was watching the 2-car. He's starting to make a move towards pit road.
Here's Jack Sprague. He's led 10 straight races on tracks a mile or longer. Big track Jack.
I tell you what, he's good on them. Very good.
Going to get one to go here. Sprague the leader, Kenny Irwin Jr. And Mike Bliss, who got a lap back from the leader, will top off this time. Mike?
Doug Cohen is the fuel man, and we'll see if they put 2 cans in. Catch can man has his hand raised. 1 can is in. They are going to go a can and a splash. Not sure how far that'll get them or if there was a miscue here, but they had 2 cans ready. They did not get any from the second can into the fuel tank.
Now, Jay Sauter also stopped to top off.
Be in line by turn 3.
And I don't think that'll get them all the way home, but it does mean if they have to come in again, they can come in for a splash and go.
Splash and go, and right now that could be the difference. So I think it was a heads-up move, and he can move right back up to the front on the inside lane and maybe have a chance to make up another lap.
Steve Burns.
You know, guys, our job is to find out the scoop, what's going on. Well, we saw the 98 crew huddled, and I walked up and said, guys, what have you figured out? The gas man looked at me and said, I can't tell you. If I tell you, I have to kill you. I can't tell you.
Oh, boy.
Okay, Burns.
Steve, it's tough down. I know it's tough down there, but we're getting ready to go back to green here at lap 108, 59 laps to go.
We don't want to die.
Dodge Pace truck makes the hard left turn, and Jack Sprague will bring them down for the restart. Trying to get one of his 2 laps back this time is Rich Bickle in the diehard 17, and here comes Bliss on the inside.
Yeah, Bliss is, he's going to have a tough time getting back to the front, though. There's some very, very fast trucks. That's Mike Skinner just in front of Bliss as they head off into turn 2, rather.
Rezendes there. As you ride with Jimmy Hensley, Rezendes that yellow ortho truck. Here comes Bliss. He's working hard at it. Now, Buddy, remember tire management. Here's Kenny Irwin Jr. down to the inside.
It's Joe Ruttman in the 80 there trying to get the inside on Bickle as they go through the corner there.
Remember, Bickle is 2 laps down. Rick Crawford completes a long pit stop in the Circle Bar RV Park and Motel number 14. Ooh, Chuck Bound, a little bump there with Mike Skinner, perhaps. Skinner in the white 93. And here comes Bliss to the inside, and he almost runs out of racetrack right there.
2 more paint jobs.
My foot
that would have been a wreck.
My foot was on the brake up here. Turn 1, there is a crash coming out of turn number 1. One truck has rushed the wall pretty hard there, and it is Barry Bodine. Field is under caution. Slowing up in the back straightaway.
Now, Mike, you see I'm not racing back to the green.
Right. Or to the yellow.
Or back to the yellow, pardon me.
It's okay. Barry Bodine has smacked the wall coming out of turn number 1. I think Dad will give him the keys to the truck again after this.
That one's pretty well used up there.
1 to go, and we'll go back to green. This will be a quick caution. Mike Bliss lining up on the insiders. Ron Hornaday, defending series champion. It's been kind of busy on his team of late. His crew chief, John Munson, and wife, Cindy, welcomed their daughter, first child, Darby, into the world on November 12th. One of his tire changers, Kevin Cram, going to get married in 2 weeks out in California. Kimberly Johnson, whose dad, Gary Johnson, builds the radiators for a lot of these trucks, is Fluidine Corp. They're going to get married out there in California. So it's been kind of busy on Hornaday's team of late. Babies, weddings, all kinds of fun stuff. Let's show you what happened out at turn number 1. To Barry Bodine.
Ooh, boy, he just got in there a little bit hot. The back of the truck started around, got in the outside wall. Nobody touched him.
Just want to say hello to Craftsman Truck Series Felix Giles. He's up with his mother, Leela, up in Cleveland, who undergoes heart surgery on Tuesday. And Felix will rejoin the tour at Phoenix.
Mike, you want to know how you make up 2 laps? You're fixing to see it, I think.
Boy, is this going to be fun if Mike Bliss gets back on the lead lap, and he's got a chance to do it right here. Green flag. He is even with Sprague as they come down. He can't beat him to the line. But right here, on the inside, Bliss is going to try to get back on the lead lap, and he's done it.
Boy, oh boy, look at Sprague fight back, though. He knows he does not want this truck back in the lead lap. He's fighting him hard as they go off into turn 2. Bliss wins that little battle.
Mike Hogler.
One battle was won when they were under caution, and that is several crew members from the Bliss team came running down to the Rich Bickle pits and said, you've got to let Mike Bliss in front. And Bickle did. He backed off and let Bliss in front, and he was able to get the lead back, or get back on the lead lap.
Trouble on Joe Ruttman's truck. The pole sitter, Ruttman, running in 3rd place, has slowed and come to the pit lane. Look at this.
Sprague got into the back of the 2-car of Bliss there, and Bliss almost got into the outside wall.
Jack the tap. And now it's up to Bickle to try to fight to get one of his 2 laps back. Ruttman, the pole sitter, in the pit lane, rubbing out of turn 2. Now, can Bliss draft under both of them? No, he goes to the outside.
Boy, he's got to keep her lit up there. He's going down hard in the turn 3.
You gotta love this.
Jack Sprague did what you have to do here. I mean, he touched him just a little bit, did not wreck him, but I guarantee you Bliss is a little hot under the collar right at the moment.
Jack Sprague and Bickle is pushing Bliss down the front straightaway. And here comes Kenny Irwin, the 2nd place truck. He can't get near the leader. Bliss to the inside. He has the favored line in the corner. What'll happen? Ooh, he washes up and he gets Sprague and lets him get straightened up.
Well, that's as close to a wreck as
Looking
you can
inside.
have.
Looking inside.
Unbelievable. And there's Kenny Irwin Jr.
Kenny Irwin Jr.
Trouble. Turn 3. Mike Bliss went around. Fires it up. No caution as yet. No caution.
It won't go, will it? It won't go.
Heart start beating again, please.
Meanwhile, the green flag is still out, and Bliss is way back now.
Yep.
Kenny Irwin Jr. is the one that really capitalized on this, but he has damage to the left front corner of this truck. As you can see right there, some of the valence is torn away on the left front corner. That will not help him on the aerodynamic side.
Irwin got into somebody in all of that fracas as Bliss tried to get back on the lead lap, and now Rich Bickle there in 17 has one of his laps back, and Kenny Irwin is the leader. Sprague wants that lead back.
I think Sprague will be able to just take her right back over as you see him working to the inside of the head turn 2.
Sprague to the bottom. Irwin let him have the corner. Will he let him have the straightaway?
Well, I can tell you one thing. That's trouble in third spot right there. That's Skinner, and he has worked his way right back in contention here in the number 93.
All right, let's show you what happened a moment ago here. Watch the 2 truck of Mike Bliss. Ooh, Chuck Bound gets into the back of him. Bliss locks it down.
Wow.
Didn't damage it.
No. Just lost valuable track position.
Sprague is back up front. Irwin is second, and Mike Skinner is there.
Knocking on the door. Will he be able to get in? It looks like he's awfully strong getting into the corner.
And he has not been racing side by side with these other trucks, buddy, using up his tires. He's just been marching up through the field.
Okay, Kenny Irwin Jr. running there in second spot in the 98 truck. What he's doing right now is drafting off Jack Sprague, and that makes his truck a little more aerodynamic running second. Out front, I think it really hurts him. If he moves over out of the draft now, he would lose a lot of position.
118 laps complete. Sprague the leader. Skinner guns and gets second. Oh, this is far from over. Stay with us. TNN Motorsports coverage of the Florida Dodge Dealers 400 is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Well, some of those dependable trucks are right there at the front of the field. Mike Skinner wants to take the lead away from Jack Sprague. That white truck is Skinner. The 95 Series champ. Here comes Bound on the inside. They're 3 abreast for the lead. And Irwin, are they going to go 4 wide? Are you kidding? Skinner.
Bear hunting with a switch.
Geez.
I'll tell you, that is good driving right there. Skinner just kept his leg in it, drove it right in the corner.
This is way too much fun. What a battle. Mike Skinner. You got to admire that.
You know, he's got some damage to the left rear corner of his truck also. Skinner does. You can see the quarter panel is kind of stuck out in the air there. I'm sure that does not help his straightaway speed.
Nope. Well, while 2 Chevys and 2 Fords fight for the lead, the pole sitter in this race and the series opening winner, Joe Ruttman, has gone behind the wall. Here's Mike Hochman.
Joe, I know you'd like to be out there in that battle. What happened?
Well, it appears that it spit all the belts off the front. Now, whether we lost an alternator belt and it jumped into all the belts and it just derailed everything, you know, which is the life of the motor, is it knocked the pump belt off.
Well, we've got a caution on the speedway.
Jack Sprague has brought out the caution, and Buddy looked like he lost part of that truck up in turn 3.
Mike, I think he had a flat tire because I seen part of the rubber come off the wheel as he was going into turn 3 up there. He slowed drastically getting into turn 3.
All right, Sprague is coming to pit road, and the caution is coming out. Here's what happened.
You can see the left rear right there. Watch this piece of the tire come off as he goes through the corner there. Very lucky he didn't spin around.
All right, let's go. Sprague is in the pits getting that left rear changed. They do have him out. And pitting down at the end of the road, he can accelerate full bore without worrying about that 55-mile-an-hour speed limit coming out of the pits. So he'll get back on track. And I do not believe he lost a lap. We'll double check that with scoring.
I would say the pit area might get a little busy here in just a second.
125 laps complete, 42 to go. And if they come in for a splash on this caution, I would guess, Steve Burns, they might be able to go the distance.
Hey, Mike, you're right. I just talked to Howard Shipwash, one of the engine tuners here for Jack Sprague, and he said we got a full can and part of a second. We're pretty sure we can go the rest of the way.
Tough break for Jack Sprague. But you couldn't have written a script for this one because it just gets more unpredictable the further we go.
No, you think one guy's in the rocking chair and all of a sudden the arm falls off and the guy goes back. I mean, you really can't predict in a truck race who has the upper hand until right at the end.
Well,
here comes our lead trucks towards the pits now. That's Mike Skinner coming in.
I'll tell you, Skinner showed me something in that 3-wide battle into turn number 3. Everybody else blinked, and he just drove it on in there.
That's why he gets the big bucks.
That's right. That's why he's 95 Series champion and this series all-time winner. So Skinner will lead Chuck Bound, Kenny Irwin, Ron Hornaday onto pit road. Dave Resendiz is in that group. Also Toby Butler, Lance Norrick, Rick Corelli, John Nemechek, Mike Bliss are all on pit road.
I'll make it easy for you. That's everybody that's in the lead lap that's coming in right now.
Mike Hogwood.
Well, helping out with the fuel on the Mike Skinner truck is Kevin Handelman, who is his Winston Cup crew chief. And it looks like they've got 2 full cans in, and they've got a full tank of fuel. He should be able to go the entire way.
Yeah, I think this will be final fuel stop for most of these teams. Steve Burns?
Yeah, Kenny Irwin just sped away off pit road. They look like they got both cans in. They also put a lot of duct tape along the left front quarter panel. They've got a lot of sheet metal damage on the left front corners.
Now, you do see cars pitting, or trucks pitting, rather, that are not on the lead lap. The rule here is a little different than it is in Winston Cup, that when the pits are open, anyone can pit any time. You don't have to be just the lead lap trucks to pit on the first lap of caution, so it is a little bit different. So we did, Buddy, see all of the lead lap trucks come in, and we also saw some trucks that were a lap or more down come in that pit sequence.
There's the 200-mile-an-hour tape on Kenny Irwin's truck. As you can see, there's some damage there, but now that they have that tape on there, he should be back up to full song when they drop the green.
41 laps to go as we work this caution for Jack Sprague up in turn number 3. We'll be right back. They restarted 1 lap ago, and Dan Press just impressed the heck out of everybody here as he goes right to the front and gets helped out of the lead right there in that number 75.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Press made a pretty strong move going in the corner over there, and
3 wide.
I think Becker let him know that was not the thing to do.
Kenny Irwin Jr. down to the bottom, and Rick Corelli on the high side. And Chuck Bound in 99 coming back up. What a dogfight this is. And by the way, Mike Bliss got his lap back. Out in front of the leaders. He's in front of this pack. There's Jay Sauter in there with Bickle. Skinner in the 93 and Hornaday in the 16. Now that's up front. And trouble on Dan Press. He's lost the tailgate cover.
He's lost more than that. Look at the right side of that truck. It's about knocked in about 6 inches. All the way down.
Jay Sauter leads them off turn number 4. Goodwrench service number 3. Let's show you what happened to Dan Press in the 75. Ooh, Corelli got a little squirrely.
See Dan Press on the outside there. The back end breaks loose into the outside wall. Heavy contact right there against the outside wall.
Kind of belayed that bed cover, and he'll have to come to the road. Tough break for Dan Press. Heating up front. Looks like Sauter and crowd, they have some company there from 3rd place on back. Sauter and Skinner have broken away just a bit. Hornaday now 3rd and Irwin 4th. That 17 truck of Rich Bickle is still 1 lap down. 35 laps to go. Most all the teams think that fuel stop has made them good to go for the distance. 30 Chevy truck. Kelly Denton on pit road with the hood up, smoking a bit earlier. Might be done for the day.
Ron Hornaday there in the second truck, the number 16 in this frame right here, is flipping that truck in the corners. He's not really sticking like he should, but the truck's sliding through the corner. He's really working hard right now to be where he's at.
What's that doing to his tires, buddy?
It don't matter with Hornaday. He's the driver. Look at this. Here comes Skinner on the inside. Two Childress trucks as they go down in the corner there.
That 3 truck gave Mike Skinner the inaugural series championship. Now he runs for Childress on the Winston Cup Tour. Makes an occasional appearance. This is his first start of the season in the Craftsman Truck Series. And Jay Sauter, second-generation driver out of Wisconsin, took over that ride at the start of this year. He is out front.
Now, Mike Skinner can really help his team truck right here. If he'll stay buttoned up just for a few laps, they can really make some distance on the third-place truck of Hornaday.
Hornaday really doesn't have a drafting partner. Kenny Irwin is a little far back to be of any help to Hornaday to catch the leader right now.
For the people that really are joining us for the first time, when we say drafting, that is the turbulence conducted by the truck as it goes through the air. It turbulates the air around the sides and over the top and really makes a vacuum behind the truck, and it'll pull the second-place truck right along. Also helps the first one because it's like a wall of air pushing the lead truck at the same time.
That lead truck is now Mike Skinner. He's taken the lead away from Jay Sauter. Let's go to Mike.
Jay Sauter driving that Chevy truck. It may not be as fast as some of the Fords, but it's been getting great gas mileage. They're getting some 60 laps to a tank of fuel, and they thought they were not hoping for any cautions down the stretch of this race, but we've had them, and as they've said here in the pit, their strategy has gone way out the window.
Not much strategy from here. Just run it as hard as you can with 32 laps to go. Now, last lap for those 2 Chevys in front of the field, 40.6 seconds. Last lap for the Fords of Irwin and Chuck Bound, 39.9. So they're gaining at half a second a lap, buddy.
Oh, they're gaining very quickly. I think that's what Skinner looked in the mirror and saw that Hornaday and those guys were closing in. He said, hey, I got to go.
Mike Skinner, 16 times a winner in Craftsman Truck Series competition, looking for his first of the season right here. Will he get it? Stay tuned. The critics are calling TNN Motorsports video game Hardcore 4x4 for Sony PlayStation and Sega Saturn. A must for racing game fans with 6 different trucks, their own handling, and 4-wheel independent suspension. It gets so real you'll have to scrape the mud off your TV screen. Find out more about TNN Motorsports Hardcore 4x4 on the World Wide Web at country.com. 138 down, 29 laps to go. Mike Skinner out in front of Jay Sauter. There's Skinner. And the Lumar window films, number 93. There's Sauter. Red service number 3.
And Hornaday right behind there. He's moving around. You can see the truck slide a little bit as Kenny Irwin Jr. looks to the inside as they head to turn 1.
Irwin in that Regustus Ford to the bottom. Now Chuck Bound is going to try to follow through, but boy, Hornaday comes down, slams the door on Chuck Bound.
Now, this guy knows how to race, but I'm not sure the way the truck's sliding around right at the moment that Hornaday's going to be able to hold off Chuck Bound.
And Rick Corelli is right there as well in the Remax number 6. Here comes Bound to the bottom. Those 2 Fords have been quick the last 4 laps. They've been half a second faster than the Chevys they've been running with. And Bound picks up the spot.
Look at Rick Corelli in the 6 truck moving into play here. He's doing quite well. You can see right up under Hornaday. What that does is make that lead truck just a little bit loose.
Or a lot loose.
Jack Sprague has moved back in here, too. He's running this group down. Spun, and NASCAR made him go to the back of the line there, but look at him come back.
Sprague is in 7th place after bringing out that caution at lap 124, and he's not done yet. He's going to be a contender before this is over. They'll work around Doug George. And Corelli had a look inside Hornaday. And here comes Sprague.
Boy, does that truck come off the corner or what? Sprague gained almost 2 truck lengths on Corelli just in that one corner coming up out of there.
Well, if Sprague can find a way underneath Hornaday, let's see if Corelli can follow him through. Now, Hornaday's Napa number 16 is in 5th place. 5th, 6th, and 7th at stake here. Hornaday, a little wiggle there, right in the middle corner.
I could see that a while ago. If he starts into the corner, the back of the truck's just a little bit loose. Whoosh! Jack Sprague got all the way sideways, but look at this truck run down the straightaway. He is that's what you call handling down the straightaways, folks.
Hendrick Power, and you saw there that Corelli could not follow through underneath Hornaday in the hole that Jack Sprague opened up there. Now that side-by-side racing has brought them a little back away from the front four. So that passed Rick Crawford from 5th on back. Let's go back up to the front of the pack. Mike Skinner and Jay Sauter keeping close tabs on one another. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
It's a dream come true today for Dana Dorman, who bought a truck, bought a motor, and wanted to go truck racing and hired one of the best drivers in the business for this weekend. There is no real relationship between the Childress team and the 93 truck. However, they got a lot of advice from the Childress group, and Kevin Hamlin, who's the crew chief on the Winston
Trouble in
Cup
turn one. One truck has hit the wall hard, and it's John Nemechek, who's been in the top 10 all day, and he went in driver's side first and just pancaked the left side of that truck. Ooh. Buddy, that's a hard hit.
It is that, and on the driver's side, too. That's
a rough one. 143 laps are complete here at Homestead. Mike Skinner leads from Jay Sauter. We'll be right back. The all-new and official store of NASCAR, NASCAR Thunder, now open in 4 cities: Atlanta, Winston-Salem, Knoxville, and Dallas. And look for 10 to 12 new locations throughout 1997. Look for one opening in your area soon. John Nemechek has taken a hard hit into the turn 1 wall. The truck went in driver's side first. And rescue crews are on the scene, helping to get John out of the truck. And we'll get an update for you from the scene as soon as we can. Let's have a look at what happened here.
You could see the truck got around all the way around on the driver's side, hit very, very hard. And with a track that's very flat like this, you don't have the bank to scrub off speed like you do on some of the major speedways. So when you go into that wall, you hit it with a lot of force.
John had been on the lead lap all day and running pretty much in 9th, 10th position all race long. Show you another look at this in slow motion. So we'll get an update on Nemechek just as soon as one's passed along to us. Mike Skinner leads this race under caution at lap 146. Jay Sauter second, both in Chevrolets. Kenny Irwin Jr. and Chuck Bown in Fords, 3rd and 4th. 5th is the Chevrolet of Jack Sprague. 6th, the Chevy of Rick Corelli. In 7th, Ron Hornaday's Chevy. In 8th is Butch Miller, up to 8th spot for Walker Evans. 9th is Toby Butler, and 10th, last year's winner, Dave Resendiz. Also on the lead lap, Lance Norrick. Mike Bliss is back on the lead lap. 1 lap down, Tony Roper, Rich Bickle, and Jimmy Hensley. Well, we've talked about a couple of drivers who have new truck rides here, and we're about to meet another one because one lucky fan will get to drive away from Homestead Motorsports Complex today in a brand new truck. Here's what happened. Champion Sparkplug and Napa Auto Parts teamed up in a promotion to send a lucky fan home today with a new Chevy pickup truck. Customers throughout Florida register for the sweepstakes at Napa stores in February. 4 finalists are here as guests of Champion and Napa. Earlier today, each finalist drew a key, only one of which would open the door to that shiny new blue pickup truck. The lucky winner, Bud Bruner from Miami. Champion's Truck Plug, the official spark plug of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and new companion product, Champion Truck Wire, can be found at Napa Auto Parts stores coast to coast. Congratulations, bud.
I don't believe it.
Caution flag remains out here at Homestead, 146 laps complete. 147 as they cross the line, and the track safety crew and rescue workers are still up at the scene in turn 1. Helping to get John Nemechek out of his number 8 truck, which slid into the wall, driver's side first, a few laps ago. We'll be right back with live coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series after this. This TNN Motorsports presentation of the Florida Dodge Dealers 400 is brought to you by the more than 1,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Here at Homestead, the field continues to roll around under caution. We do know that John Nemechek is still inside truck number 8, that the rescue crews are there working with him, that there are doctors and EMTs on the scene trying to aid John and get him out of the truck and over to the infield care center. And we'll get a further report as soon as one is available as the track crews there continue to assist. Once again, Mike Skinner, 15 poles, 16 wins, and 1 series championship. Moves up to Winston Cup Racing, but buddy, I think if there's anybody in this series that came back for a guest drive that some of these teams would just as soon stayed home for the weekend, it would be Mike Skinner. He is tough.
Well, he knows how to drive the trucks, and really when Richard Childress hired him a couple of years ago to do the truck series, I kind of went, Mike Skinner? Why? And then I found out because I watched him drive, and the guy is so talented about working with the crew, understanding what the car or truck is doing, and just his overall racing. I think he's going to be a great talent in Winston Cup, and in the trucks, they would just tell him that, Mike, don't burn the tires off. And once he really got everything regimented, the guy has just been tough and hard to beat no matter what he's in. And yeah, that's not a Childress truck, but boy, I didn't know that when the race started, but he certainly drove it just like it's one of them.
Well, when they went 3 abreast into turn number 3 and there was a truck either side of him, everybody else blinked because they knew Skinner was not going to lift. He has established that reputation and took it on in there and took the spot. And Jay Sauter, I think, I'm not going to say that Jay's going to get a lesson following Mike Skinner, but I think he can pick up a couple of tips. Do you?
It'd be a good guy to watch, I'll tell you. I think that Sauter is certainly a very, very good race car driver, and now he's in a tremendously good prepared truck, and he's doing what you need to do the first year out.
You see they're taking the roof off John Nemechek's truck. The roll cage structure in these trucks has become so complex and works its way through so many areas of the truck itself that it's difficult when a driver is unable to climb out under his own power. It's very difficult to take him out through the side window. It's much easier to remove him up through the roof where there are roll cage bars. So that's what's happening, and here's why. John Nemechek going into turn number 1, spinning the truck and taking a very hard hit with the driver's side against the concrete wall in turn 1. That's why we're under this lengthy caution, and we'll try to update you further from the scene when we come back to Homestead Motorsports Complex in South Florida. You're watching Craftsman Truck Series racing on TNN.
Well, my first race car was, I think, about a 1972 or 73 Pontiac. We lived in a town of about 4,000 people in Edgerton, Wisconsin. We raced at 2 tracks up there at Jefferson and Columbus, Wisconsin. And the story I kind of remember is kind of that a buddy of mine, Pete Seitz, had this shop, and he was always racing. I was over by his house monkeying around with him, and another guy who lived in the neighborhood named Augie Picaro supposedly had his car that was out behind a barn. And we kind of went over there one day and picked it up and got it and shoved it over to Pete's house. And I remember welding a battery box in. I think it was the first time I ever used a stick welder. And went to the racetrack that night. And, well, first of all, we painted a big bright yellow because my dad always used to have a yellow car. And he owned his own stuff and yellow Dodges. Well, this is old Pontiac, and put number 5 on it. We went to Jefferson Race the first time.
Rich Bickle on his first ever race car, and now he sits in one of the top rides in this part of the sport. As you see, this race has been red flagged to allow the safety workers down in turn number 1 a little more working room, and They have red flagged and halted the trucks on the front straightaway so they can assist John Nemechek. The Lifestar helicopter is coming in, and he'll be immediately transported from the track to a local hospital. So the helicopter landing now. Mike Hogwood is at the Infield Care Center.
Mike, at the care center, we have no word on John Nemechek's condition. The family is here. Mr. Nemechek is here. The crew is here. They've been given directions to the hospital, and they were taking all precautions on getting John out of that car. We know that they were told that here, and there were actually 2 physicians who were at the trackside beside the truck, and were helping to extricate him from the truck, and he will be, as you said, transported via helicopter to a local hospital.
Okay, John has now been removed from the truck, placed in the ambulance, and is going to be taken to the helicopter landing pad here at the racetrack and transported to a local hospital. Again, we'll pass along any update further as soon as we receive it from NASCAR. There's the Lifestar coming in. What a godsend, buddy, that this has been, not just for auto racing, but for emergency situations all around the country. These crews that come in pretty much regardless of weather or condition to help transport seriously injured folks to immediate medical care.
Absolutely. Richard Petty had an accident in Charlotte, and they brought the helicopter service right in on the front straightaway. He was taken into the hospital and checked over, and fortunately was not hurt that bad. But they like to make sure like they said, they're taking every precaution to make sure that they don't injure a driver more than he is, but by pulling and they take their time getting them out.
Now let's pass along that the fact that they removed the roof, brought John out through the top of the roll cage, is no indication of seriousness of injury. It's hard enough to climb into one of these trucks for a healthy individual. The window opening is small, the roll cage structure is ever present all around, so please let's not speculate other than the fact that he is going to require hospitalization and is being taken to the Lifestar helicopter and transported for that purpose. That is all the information we had, and it's not going to be fruitful to speculate further. The truck has been loaded on the rollback, going to be taken off to the garage area, and just as soon as the track area is clear, the rest of this field will get back to racing. One crew member from each truck, there's one of the NASCAR officials, has been allowed to go out and talk to the driver under this red flag condition. We're 149 laps into this event, 18 to go here at Homestead, Florida. The ambulance pulls away, and the helicopter, the accident in turn 2, the safe landing area, designated landing area for the Lifestar helicopter, just at the head end of pit road behind turn number 4. So if you just joined us, we're in a red flag condition here at Homestead for John Nemechek, who slid and spun in turn number 1, impacted the retaining wall driver's side first, pretty much pancaked the left side of the truck. They have, among the tools available to the track crew, are huge hydraulic shears that can cut through a roll cage like a knife through butter. The jaws have tremendous squeezing and crushing strength, and it appears they did remove the roll cage after they took the roof off to aid in getting John out of the truck. So again, we'll pass along any further news as we have it, and try to turn our attention back to the business at hand of completing this race, which has 18 laps to go. So we'll be right back to the Homestead Motorsports Complex here in South Florida with a continuation of the Dodge Dealers 400 after this. We're getting set to refire the engines here at Homestead to resume this race that has 18 laps left to run. The red flag brought out by John Nemechek's crash at turn number 1. He was running in the top 10 at the time of the incident. There are 12 trucks on the lead lap. There's one of them, Kenny Irwin Jr. He's a factor here in 3rd place. There's Jack Sprague, who is in 5th, and the command's being given to fire engines. Rick Corelli in 6th. Buddy, I wonder what kind of strategy comments might have gone on between some of those drivers parked side by side during this red flag.
It's getting down to where strategy does not have any part in the outcome. Right now, you have to get yourself in a good position with that front group, draft along with them, make your moves, and try to be in the right spot right near the end of the race, and hope that your truck does not give up on tires.
Crew chief's walking away from the trucks, going to fire them up and let them go here. 18 laps to go. Good bit of speedy dry down in turn number 1. The track sweeper is at work down there. There's Kenny Hendrick inside Rob Rizzo's truck. Rizzo, broken shoulder in Thursday practice. He had planned to run in the 12 hours of Sebring yesterday as well and had to sit that one out. He started the truck and turned over to Hendrick at the first caution flag. They're presently in 18th place, 3 laps down. Later today, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be going out to Lost Wages, where the Busch Grand well, it is every time I go, where the Busch Grand National Series will be in action in the Las Vegas 300. 4 p.m. You'll see that live here on TNN Motorsports just about 40 minutes from now. But here at Homestead, we still have 18 laps left to run. There's a look at Jay Sauter. Boy, what a great run he's had today, running in second place for Richard Childress. Kenny Irwin Jr., the 98 third. Chuck Bound in fourth has been a factor all day.
Chuck Bound is really good on cold tires, so with just a few laps to go, he may be a factor.
Rick Corelli in the 6th, Ron Hornaday, and Butch Miller. We'll be back for the restart of the Dodge Dealers 400 here at Homestead, Florida, after this. And you know, welcome back to Homestead, Florida, where they fired the engines. The Lifestar helicopter is transporting John Nemechek to an area hospital. And once again, we've had no further update as to his condition. As soon as we do, we'll pass it along to you. Mike Hogwood.
This is Dana Dorman, who is not only the owner but the crew chief on the 93 truck driven by Mike Skinner today. What's Mike saying?
Well, he's just ready to get the thing over with. It's been a pretty long day, and we worked hard on this truck all week long to get it as fast as it is, and we just want to keep him up there for about 16 more laps and get it to the end.
You have some damage to the sheet metal on the left rear. What kind of effect is that having on the truck?
Well, the air is getting up inside the tonneau cover and picking the back of the truck up, making it pretty loose.
Well, is he going to pull over maybe and let Jay Sauter by his replacement in that 3 truck?
That'll be his call, but I don't think so. We kind of talked about it. If it came to the end for the win, it was race, every man for himself. So we're going to go for the win.
All right, Steve Burns.
I talked to Frank Rascinti, the crew chief for Chuck Bound, and I said, before you refired, are you guys okay? And he said, yeah, as long as we can get it restarted. When these motors are hot and cool down, sometimes they are difficult to restart. Well, in fact, they did have problems. However, NASCAR said, we will give anybody a free push start, and you will not lose a position. So Chuck's back up in good shape.
So we're set for this restart. 151 laps complete. We will restart next time by. Mike Skinner, the leader. Jay Sauter in second in Chevys. Kenny Irwin Jr. and Chuck Bound in Fords. Then it's Jack Sprague, Rick Corelli, Ron Hornaday, and Butch Miller all in Chevrolets. Toby Butler's in a Chevy, and Dave Resendi's 10th in a Chevrolet. There's the spotter location just above our position here atop the roof of the Homestead Motorsports complex. Looking out across the pit suites and the infield lake toward the back straightaway. Who do you like, buddy?
The truck in the front right there, Mike Skinner, I tell you what, he knows how to race. He has some damage, as they said, though, and Chuck Bound has a very good race truck on restarts. And don't forget about Hornaday. He really knows how to capitalize on restarts and all like that. And I apologize to everybody, but I got a terrible cold today. I'm just about to run out of stuff here.
Well, we're about to run out of laps, so it'll happen about the same time. I like Skinner, too, because he's not racing for points. He's got nothing to lose here. But as they say, it's far from over. Dodge safety truck is in. Let's go back to green. Seven trucks get a little breathing room. Now they have with them Rich Bickle, the 17, who is 2 laps down. Everybody else up there is on the lead lap. Just check that. Bickle is 1 lap down. Skinner hauls him down the back straightaway. Looks like those 2 Chevys may get away a little bit unless Irwin can get underneath.
Boy, Hornaday sliding back through the pack there. He got caught on the outside, and he's losing a lot of valuable track space there. You can see a lot of trucks going by him there. One slip, and you really lose a lot of track position.
Corelli and Butler both went past. Mike Bliss and Dave Resendiz in the yellow Ortho truck. 5 trucks up front. They're kind of broken away. 2x2 into turn 3. Sauter. Skinner says, oh, no, you don't.
He's learned that from a guy that he's a teammate with. That's the way Earnhardt drives in. But look at Jay Sauter fight back on the inside to try to take the lead as they come off turn 4.
Well, he's got company. They're 3 abreast. Kenny Irwin.
Little contact there. Jack Sprague got inside of Sauter just a little bit as they started off the corner. Sprague's moved into third and now trying to take over second.
And Sauter, who had a shot at the lead in turn 4, is in 4th place in turn 1. Wow.
It's good, isn't it?
It's pretty great. Here comes Sprague. He drops to the inside. Ooh, almost contact between Sprague and Skinner. Not that we've ever seen that before.
Yeah, but that don't help with Mike Skinner. He's going to come on anyhow. Just you can make 3 or 4 moves at him like that, but all you're going to get is a quarter panel torn up if you make that move too many times.
Sprague to the inside. They almost touch. 12 laps to go.
Boy, this is what Jay Sauter really needs right here. But Kenny Irwin Jr., look at him move away.
Sure, let him fight behind him.
Sure.
Here comes Skinner inside of Sprague. Takes second place away. And Sprague gets right under him again. And here comes Chuck Bound. Is he going to make it 3 wide in the back straightaway? Not this time. And Sprague takes second from Skinner. This is a grudge match now. Look, here comes Skinner again.
And Chuck Bounds moved in there now.
And here's Sprague again. I can't believe it. They will not go single file. They will not give it up.
Kenny Irwin Jr. right at the moment running almost a second a lap faster.
Trouble. Turn 1 and 2. Trucks are hard in the wall. Toby Butler and Jay Sauter have hit hard. Well, you knew something in that pack had to give.
Oh, boy.
You hoped it wouldn't be like that. Kenny Irwin will bring him around to the caution. And it will be the 8th one of the day at lap 156. But what a battle for second place we were watching between Mike Skinner and Jack Sprague. Let's show you what happened here.
See Jay Sauter on the outside there. Toby Butler's on the inside. Jay did not see him underneath there and come down on Butler, and they made contact. You can see Toby Butler going almost head on into the wall. And Jay Sauter hit on the driver's side as he spun completely around and got into the outside wall.
Another look at it. Now look way to the left side, just out of the picture. They'll come into view. Already around. Oof. You're riding with Mike Bliss, who was right behind it when it happened.
There's where they made contact there. See, Toby Butler was all the way down against the yellow strip on the inside. Nowhere to go.
10 laps to go under this caution. And we'll be back to Homestead Motorsports Complex right after this word. You're watching Racing on TNN.
He's into the outside wall. Ruckman goes by on the final lap of the race.
Jack Sprague has had some tough ones, and he's trying to battle back from a cut tire that brought out a caution at lap 124 and sent him to the pits. And Sprague has battled his way back to second place. Kenny Irwin Jr. leads it. Sprague in second, Mike Skinner third. They just traded second place back and forth, sometimes twice in every corner, buddy. I mean, it was wild to watch.
Well, this really tightened the fight up for the lead right now. Kenny Irwin Jr. had built up about a 3-4 second lead there and was pretty much in control of who was going to win, but Jack Sprague and Mike Skinner were going at it tooth and nail.
Now, one rule about the Craftsman Truck Series that I really like is that they end the race green-white checker. They will not finish this race under caution. We will see a green flag finish. And we see one of the leaders on pit road, Ron Hornaday. Buddy, this might be a smart move that this race ends up going past the 167 lap mark. If Hornaday stops for a splash of gas here, it may put him in good shape. There are, we'll check the number of trucks on the lead lap. I believe we have 10. Sammy Gonzalez puts 2 rounds in the left rear. I think that's Kevin Cram bumping up the spoiler and
adjusting the air pressure in the right rear tires, also trying to make this truck a little bit tighter. When you see them hitting on that rear spoiler like that, they're trying to get downforce on the back of the truck to make it a little bit tighter going through the corner.
There's Toby Butler, shaken, but okay after that hard hit into the turn 1 retaining wall. And the rescue crews working with Jay Sauter now, who went in driver's side first into that turn 1 wall. Steve?
Mike, I just talked to Richard Childers. He just happened to be walking by, the owner of that truck, and he said he has not heard verbally from Jay Sauter, so no condition or no word on his condition from down here.
Well, it's not uncommon in an impact like that the radio equipment, either the plug or the radio itself, becomes dislodged, or as soon as the driver gets the helmet off, of course, he's no longer in communication with the crew, so that is not uncommon. But Jay Sauter had a shot to win this. Looked like a chance at a top 5 when he and Toby Butler got together. They're going. There's Butler standing and walking around. So Toby is okay. That's good news. 8 laps to go on the scheduled distance here, and Busch Grand National racing coming up in a little while. So stay with us. Okay. It may have been after they made contact. It might have cut it. Yeah. Maybe. Oop. Welcome back to Homestead. Let's show you once again from Mike Bliss's truck what happened. That's Butler on the inside, Sauter outside.
Okay, you see Butler there on the inside, down on almost on the ripple strips. Now, as they go in the corner, they make contact. You see Butler going up, around goes the 3, in on the driver's side.
And, buddy, I agree with what you said earlier. Toby was as far down on the racetrack as he could get, and Jay Sauter came into the corner and must have thought he was clear. Well,
that's what you do. You think you're buying. All you have to do is barely touch. Getting into a flat corner like that, boy, it turns you around in a hurry.
It's hard to imagine, folks, if you've not been in a race car, just how close to the edge of control those vehicles are when they get down into that corner. That if you could reach out and touch one of those trucks with your finger, you could spin it around.
Pretty much that, yeah. You could see the concern on Toby Butler there. Toby Butler's one of the finest young men around, and he and Jay Sauter are good friends, and that kind of contact, that just happens on racetracks, and boy, it makes you feel terrible when you're involved with something like that.
So with 8 laps to go, once again, the red flag has come out here at Homestead. Mike?
John Monson, the crew chief on the Ron Hornaday truck. You brought him in for a pit stop. What were you trying to do?
We're trying to tighten the truck up because Ron got really loose in traffic. And being that there's only 2 trucks behind us on the lead lap, in the last 10 laps, Ron's so good at a short run, I think he can make those 2 positions that we gave up. We've just been told that the Butch Miller truck has a steering problem, and they asked us to go ahead of them. So that really we only lost 1 position, and I think we'll have a chance to make up more than that because we fixed the truck. If we had just set tight where we were, we never would have gained anything. All we could have done was lose more.
A gamble well worth taking.
I think so. I hope so anyway.
All right. Mike?
Now, that's a sharp crew chief, somebody who says, you know, we could lose 2 spots, but we could gain a whole bunch more if we bring him in and make this change. So be interesting to see how Ron Hornaday fares after this red flag condition is over. Kenny Irwin, the leader. Jack Sprague, 2nd. Skinner is 3rd. Bowen is 4th. Bliss is 5th. In 6th place, Rick Corelli having one of his best super speedway days for Marshall Chesrown. Ron Hornaday scored 7th last time he came across the line. Dave Rezendes also on the lead lap, as is Lance Norick, having a good outing for the National Hockey League. And Butch Miller in the 10th spot. Those trucks are on the lead lap. 1 lap down in 11th place is Rich Bickle. In 12th, 1 lap back, is the Brevac truck with Tony Roper aboard. And in 13th, Jimmy Hensley in Richard Petty's number 43. 2 laps down, on a lap by himself now, is Dan Press And there are 5 trucks that are 3 laps back, including now. They'll drop off that board when they go back to green. Toby Butler and Jay Sauter. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Kenny Irwin will be leading this race when we get cranked up again after this red flag. Gary Showalter is crew chief. What's he saying?
Well, he says he thinks he's okay, but these long reds, we don't know what's going to happen to the truck on the restart. So the air pressures go down, everything cools off, so it's starting like just let the driver do what he can do.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you don't know really the effect, and it does have a big effect sitting here for this long period of time.
Right. We never do that in practice, so we don't know what's going to happen. So we're just hoping that the driver can overcome whatever else happens.
Is he more worried about Jack Sprague or Mike Skinner?
Well, actually, I don't think he's worried about either one right now. He's just trying to stay focused.
All right, Michael?
That's a good bit of confidence there. Boy, if you had to pick in an alley, who would you rather be worried about, Mike Skinner or Jack Sprague?
I don't know.
That'd be hard to choose. All right, folks, they're still cleaning up down at turn number 1, and we'll give you an update just as soon as we can. We'll be right back to Homestead after this. Welcome back to Homestead, where we're still under the red flag. You saw Toby Butler walk away from that incident in turn 1. The word now is that Jay Sauter is okay. He has been put on a backboard as a precaution and is going to be airlifted out of the racetrack. That he is not seriously injured, but he is being taken out to Jackson Ryder Trauma Center. And in Sauter's case, it is precautionary, so that he is not seriously hurt. And that's all the update we have to give you from NASCAR at the moment. There is Sauter's truck being taken back to the garage area. And again, you see where they had taken the roof and roll cage and cut it away to aid in getting him out of the truck, and then just kind of loosely set it back on there for the ride back to the garage area. Let's go to pit road.
Mike, I'm with Barry Dotson. Barry, you guys have struggled and battled all day long. You got down 2 laps.
Oh, it's like going back to the Winston Cup days, you know, and the truck's just dominant. We just missed it. The fuel mileage has been all over the place because of traffic, and it's a big racetrack, and you own it off the gas a lot. And we missed it just about a pint, probably, making it to the half there. We got a dominant truck. If we got enough time here, I think we can pull off the win. And Mike feels the same way. And I was telling him a while ago, when we looked like we were going to make up the second lap, save the tires. That's the only chance we had. If we had the opportunity to make the lap up, move around to the tail end. And from the last restart, he's come from 12th to 5th, and he's just done one heck of a job today. And you know, we're concerned about the people that have been in the wrecks. We hope they're all okay. They're such a good family over here. And I told Mikey, I said, you know, I messed us up in there, buddy, but you're the man today. The truck is really dominant. Robert Yates Motors have made that thing handle so much better. The F97 Ford's a great truck with Valvoline and Snap-on, and the technology that we've been able to use with ASC over the winter that we weren't able to utilize last year being a new team has only made us better and made us a contender. Situations like you just saw, that's the reason that we aren't up in the points anymore than we are. We had a miscue at Orlando. We had a good, strong 5th at Tucson, and we're planning on getting back in this thing. And right now, we're tickled to death. We ought to be first, you know, but we're not. But it ain't over.
Okay, they've just refired the engines. And Barry, of course, the crew chief for Rusty Wallace when he won the Winston Cup Championship in 1989.
They've refired the engines. We have 8 laps to run here at Homestead, Florida. Here again is a look at what happened in that battle right behind the leaders. Toby Butler in 52, Jay Sauter in the number 3. Taking that long, hard ride to the wall in turn 1. We're back underway, and again, Chuck Bound's truck is may need a push start to get going here, as it did after the second red flag. The Exide battery's 99. And we'll be set to go for the final, what is now 7 laps. Run through a bit of speedy dry down there in turn 1, and so now Bound is going. Take his spot back up in the running order. Chuck Bound was running fourth behind 2 Chevrolets and the Ford of Kenny Irwin. See a little speedy dry there. Bound went through it, and he'll take his place back up in line, and let's see if we can get one to go this time by.
Now, who do you like?
Well, Kenny Irwin had done a great job of getting the lead. I was a little surprised in that last run of Green Flag Racing to see that Sprague and Skinner rather would just keep battling back and forth, side by side, tooth and nail, and let Irwin get away. That kind of surprised me. But it sure looked like fun. Mike Hogwood.
Well, the crew down here says that Kenny Irwin is amazingly calm inside that truck. He really believes he can hold off Sprague and Skinner. He has pumped this crew up. They are really excited down here, including Brad Daugherty, the former Cavaliers center. They're ready to go, and Irwin says he is confident that he can win this race.
1 to go. We go back to Green. Last year, in only his 2nd Craftsman truck race at Richmond, Virginia, Irwin sat on the pole. There you see Brad Daugherty on the horn to his young driver. Getting set to go here, Liberty Racing. Butch Miller, 1-1 for them out at Denver. Ready for the Road will not be seen today because of the length of this race. We'll go straight to Las Vegas in the Busch Grand National cars just as soon as we're done here at Homestead. Brad Daugherty in about half a dozen cities, buddy, will take his truck transporter, Kenny Irwin and everybody into the inner city and do some school appearances, trying to help some kids along the right path. I mean, Daugherty is quite a role model to inner city kids, and they made an appearance here in Miami and really made an impression with Kenny and the truck and the technology. The kids really took to it.
Look at that smile. I guarantee you he's happy right now. He's saying fast break, fast break.
Yeah. Steve?
Hey, Mike, I was talking to Brad about that program in the inner city. He said they had an absolute blast down at the school here in Miami. He said there were 400 kids that came out and they talked to him. He said they were climbing all in the truck, around the truck. He said they had a blast, and he said they want to do it a lot more next year. This year, as you said, they'll do it in 6 cities.
Looking for green this time, Steve. And it'll be 5 laps to go. Look at Sprague right up and under Kenny Irwin. Boy, Irwin almost got the pace truck. He grabbed a gear. He went. He's gone. 2 car lengths ahead of Jack Sprague at the stripe.
Now you watch Jack Sprague try to get under him as they start. No, I think he's happy just where he's at. Kenny Irwin got a great jump. But I was looking for Jack Sprague to try to make that inside move on him, but Kenny Irwin is really running well. You see that tape starting to flap on that front part of the truck of Kenny Irwin Jr.
Turn 3. And it's Irwin down to the inside. Remember what Sprague told us yesterday. When he follows a Ford, he has little down pressure on the nose of his Chevy truck. He's following one right now. Let's see what he can do with it. Oh! Jack the tap.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, that was almost it there.
Well, that's one way to get the lead. Boy, Sprague got in the back of Kenny Irwin. It was all Irwin could do to hang on to that truck. Well, now Skinner in 3rd, Irwin in 2nd, Bound in 4th, Mike Bliss in 5th. This isn't over, folks, not yet. Through turn 4, Irwin trying to close back in for a run at Jack Sprague.
You can see just back beyond here, Mike Bliss is making a move right now, trying to take over a spot for 4th spot there.
There's Skinner, 93 in 3rd. Ooh, look at Irwin's caught him, and he drives to the inside. Kenny Irwin gets under Jack Sprague. They are 2 by 2. Who will Skinner help down the backstretch? He goes with Irwin. He goes with Sprague. Here we go to turn 3, and they're side by side for the lead. And it's Irwin to turn 4.
Here comes Sprague back on the outside, drives it deep in there, crosses up just a little bit. There was just little contact there as they started off 4.
2 to go. This time Skinner goes with Irwin to the inside. Irwin ekes out a little lead coming out of 1.
Chuck Bounce looking under Mike Bliss as they start down in the corner. Here comes Skinner on the inside.
Here comes Bliss on the inside of Skinner. Here comes Bound on the inside of Bliss. And guess who's walking away from them all? Kenny Irwin.
Kenny Irwin driving away, but look at this fight for second.
And Jack Sprague ends up back in 5th. Off turn 4. White flag in the wind. Irwin in the lead.
Irwin in the lead. Mike Bliss is really fighting back in second spot there. You see Bound there in third, and the 99 truck. We're really making a nice move to the front. 3 Fords leading the Chevrolets.
And still Skinner and Sprague are going at it. Look at this for 4th place. A lot of white paint on that green truck and green paint on that white truck, buddy.
Skinner's going to run out of laps, but not out of brazier.
Last time around, Mike Bliss may catch Kenny Irwin. They're just about a truck length apart. There's the race for 4th. Off turn 4. Checkered flag. Kenny Irwin Jr. by 2 truck lengths will win it. Mike Bliss is 2nd. Chuck Bound 3rd. Mike Skinner 4th. And Jack Sprague winds up 5th. Mike Hogwood.
Here we are, Brad Doherty high-fiving everybody. It's better than winning like an NBA championship.
It's a great win for the Liberty Racing team. Ray Bestis, Ford credit. Ford was really toting the mail today. Kenny Irwin Jr. did a tremendous job, and we're tickled to death.
Jack Sprague tapped him, got by him, but that young driver kept his cool and composure. What a great move to come back by.
Yeah, well, Jack Sprague's a tremendous racer, and Kenny really held his composure going through the corner. Made a great move to get back into the league, and we're tickled to death.
All right, Brad Doherty and company headed to victory lane.
Good place to go. Kenny Irwin Jr., 27 years old, first full season of Craftsman Truck Series racing, gets his first victory today. Plastic Coat, official spray paint of NASCAR, presents the Winning Finish Award for today's race. $1,000 to the crew chief of the highest finishing Craftsman truck team, and Gary Showalter, who goes to victory lane with Kenny Irwin Jr. He is the winner. End of the year, the crew chief with the best average finish wins $10,000. Congratulations to Showalter from all of us at TNN and the folks at Plastic Coat. We'll go to victory lane here at Homestead, Florida, and meet Kenny Irwin Jr. right after this. TNN Motorsports' exclusive presentation of the Florida Dodge Dealers 400 has been brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Let's join Steve Burns at victory lane.
And Mike Bliss is giving him a congratulatory drink of water. Kenny Irwin, what a battle, man. What a way to get your first win.
I'm telling you, I don't actually believe it. I really don't. I don't know. There's so many people that got me here. I don't know. It's just the coolest thing I've ever done. I mean, Ray Bestis and Ford Credit, they're with me on the truck, and I have to have the best team because I know that coming in here, we struggled real bad the first 2 races with setups, and they're just figuring out how I drive, and I love it.
Tell us about the battle in those closing laps. There's a lot of rubbing going on.
Oh my gosh! And on the restart, we had such a bad push, and so I tried to block the 24 truck, and he hit me in the butt, and I mean it didn't hurt us, I don't think, and I think it just slowed all of them down a little, and we just kept going. It's I don't know. I just don't know what to say. It's just.
Well, congratulations. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Don't you love a first-time winner, buddy?
Always, always. That reminds me of Jeff Gordon when he won his first Winston Cup race.
10 trucks finished on the lead lap here at Homestead today, and Mike Bliss is our Mopar high performer of the event. He came from 2 laps down, battled back onto the lead lap, and a podium finish. 2nd place here at Homestead for Mike Bliss and the ASE Ultra Wheels team. 3rd place for Chuck Bound. 4th for Mike Skinner. 5th for Jack Sprague. 6th, Ron Hornaday, Dave Resendiz, Rick Corelli, Butch Miller, Lance Norick were all on the lead lap at the finish. Bickle, Roper, Jimmy Hensley 1 lap down. A lot of trucks out of this race, buddy. This race took a heavy toll.
It certainly did, and you know, the competition was great, but we just wish all the drivers that were in wrecks today that they're all okay.
For Buddy Baker, Mike Hogwood, and Steve Burns, this is Mike Joy, hoping you've enjoyed our live presentation of the Dodge Dealers 400 from Homestead, Florida. Congratulations to Kenny Irwin Jr., who picks up his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series victory.